Hello, everyone, and welcome into the MSA Sports Network's coverage of 2016 Washington Wild Things baseball. Today, we come to you live from Consol Energy Park in Washington, Pennsylvania, as your Washington Wild Things take on the Southern Illinois Miners in Game 2 of a 3-game series. Hi, everyone. I'm Zach Ziegler, taking you through the entire 2016 season for your Washington Wild Things. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show right here on the MSA Sports Network. Unfortunately, the Wild Things losing Game 1 of this series last night by a score of 4-2. Gonna have a recap of that game for you. Also gonna be joined by your Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week, Logan Aksa. He'll join us on the pregame show as well. We're also gonna take a look at the lineups and the pitching matchup, a very good pitching matchup for you in tonight's game. It's all coming up right here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show on the MSA Sports Network. Now, as we said last night, unfortunately, the Washington Wild Things fell to the Southern Illinois Miners by the score of 4-2, and actually the Wild Things would jump on the board first as they struck in the bottom of inning number 2. Jimmy Yezzo and Andrew Heck each got out to start the inning, but then back-to-back 2-out walks to Logan Aksa and Kyle Pollock had runners at first and second with 2 men out before Austin Wobrock came through with a 2 RBI double, scoring both Aksa and Pollock. That made the score 2-0 Wild Things. Jamadric Magruder would walk, and Ricky Rodriguez struck out to end that inning. However, the Southern Illinois Miners responding to the Wild Things in the top of the third. Riley Moore would ground out to start things. Then Edison Sanchez walked. So did Francisco Rosario. So there were runners at first and second, 1 man out. Aaron Gates went into a fielder's choice, eliminating Rosario at second base. So there were runners at the corners with 2 men out before Nolan Early came through, drove in the first run of the game for the Miners on an RBI single. It scored Edison Sanchez and made the score 2-1. Miners would get on the board again at the top of the fourth. Alex De Leon walked to start things. Then Vin Galletti reached on a fielder's choice. De Leon was eliminated at the second base bag. However, 1 out runner at first. The very next batter, Steve Marino, a 2-run home run. Marino's 11th home run of the season made the score 3-2. Southern Illinois. Riley Moore would walk. Edison Sanchez would ground into a fielder's choice, and Francisco Rosario would ground out to end the inning. Miners again adding on in the top of the 5th. Aaron Gates and Nolan Early flew out to start the inning before Craig Massey hit a solo home run. Massey's 5th home run of the season that gave the Miners a 4-2 lead over your Washington Wild Things. Alex De Leon would fly out to end the inning. After that, Luke Wilkins settled down in his last 2 innings, retired the last 6 Miners he faced, and totally went 7 innings, giving up 4 runs, all earned on 3 hits, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts while throwing 104 pitches in his outing. So not a bad outing for Wilkins. However, it was the first time that he gave up more than 3 earned runs in a ball game, giving up 4 earned runs last night this season. He was relieved by Brian O'Keefe. O'Keefe came in for the top inning number 8, got the first 2 men he faced out on a ground out by Nolan Early. Early was then ejected after a very nice play by Ricky Rodriguez, and Craig Massey flew out. Then in came Andrew Wick to relieve O'Keefe after just 2/3 of an inning. Scoreless for O'Keefe. Wick got the final out of the inning and then proceeded to get the first 2 outs in the top of the 9th before Devin Davis came in for a 1/3 of an inning, getting that final out. So a perfect outing from the bullpen. Did not give up a hit in their 2 innings of work and relief of Luke Wilkins. They used 3 of those bullpen relievers, and that Wild Things bullpen continues to be very good for your Washington Wild Things. The Wild Things did threaten in this game to tie the game. In the bottom of the 7th, after Austin Wobrock flew out to start things, Jamadric Magruder walked and Ricky Rodriguez singled. There were runners at first and second, 1 out. A wild pitch would move those runners up to second and third with 1 out before Chris Grayson struck out. Dave Popkins was intentionally walked, and that would smell the end of reliever Zach Cooper. Cooper in total went 2/3 of an inning, giving up 1 hit, walking 2, and striking out 1. The starter, Dylan Nuremberg, went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, both earned on 4 hits, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He threw 96 pitches in his start last night. Then Jimmy Yezzo came up with the bases loaded against Chris DeBoo, and DeBoo would get Yezzo to ground out to end the inning. So the Wild Things stranded, the bases loaded. And then in the 9th, they tried to score again off reliever Adam Lopez. Lopez struck out Wobrock to start things. Then Jamadric Magruder singled. Ricky Rodriguez and Chris Grayson back-to-back flyouts would end the game. So the final score in that one, Southern Illinois 4 and your Washington Wild Things 2. The win went to Dylan Nuremberg. Nuremberg improved to 4-1 on the season. The loss went to Luke Wilkins. Wilkins fell to 2-2. And the save went to Adam Lopez. It was Lopez's second save of the 2016 season. So your Washington Wild Things looking to bounce back here tonight in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Right now we're going to take our first break here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show. But when we come back, we're going to be joined by your Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week, Logan Uxa. He joins us on the pregame show. It's all coming up right here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. Currently joined by Wild Things infielder Logan Uxa. And Logan, you were named the Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week. What's it mean for you to get that honor here in the Frontier League?
It means a lot. I put together a pretty good week, and we were able to finish the second half pretty strong there too, which is key for us. And just hopefully continue that momentum here in the second half.
And you hit 2 home runs during that week last week. Have you worked on anything for your power game, or is that just something that's come recently for you?
It's just just little tinks here and there, but it's just my swing is kind of the same. I'm just getting better pitches to hit and put myself in better position to better counts and stuff like that. So hopefully I can continue it.
And coming into this series, a battle of 2 first-place teams. You guys were in first in the Frontier League East, the Miners in first in the Frontier League West. What type of preparation went into this series for this weekend?
This is a big series for us. Kind of set the tone here for the second half. We can just get off to a good start. We lost last night, so hopefully we can bounce back tonight and give us a chance to win the series on Sunday, tomorrow.
And facing a very good pitcher tonight in Dan Ludwig, 6-1 coming into tonight. And the guy you haven't seen yet this year, how do you approach facing a new pitcher coming into a ball game like this?
I just try to play to my strengths. I don't try to alter my approach at all. I try to play into my strengths and not so much what the other guys do, and just try and get pitches that I like to hit and counts that I like to hit.
And finally, can you give us some keys to victory tonight for you guys to bounce back and get the win in tonight's game?
We're just going to be better with runners in scoring position. Last night, it was a pretty even game, but we had some opportunities there with some runners on, and we weren't able to capitalize, and they were. So tonight, if we just get a couple more hits and when runners on, I think we'll be all right.
Thanks, Logan. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
We'll be right back here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise, we ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show as we get you ready for Game 2 of 3 between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Wild Things losing last night by a score of 4-2, looking to bounce back in tonight's game and even up this series with the first place Southern Illinois Miners. Unfortunately, your Wild Things dropping out of first place last night as they lost and the Joliet Slammers won, so Joliet retakes that first place spot with your Wild Things just 1 game back, nothing to worry about. But the Wild Things are in second now, Joliet in first. Wild Things look to bounce back tonight and take that first place position. Lineup cards being exchanged at home plate. So right now, going to go through the lineups for both of these teams for you. First, for the visiting Southern Illinois Miners, they come in with a record of 35-17, led by their manager Mike Pinto. They'll lead off with their center fielder Aaron Gates, batting second in right field, Nolan Early, batting third at second base, Craig Massey. Hitting fourth at first base, Alex De Leon. Batting fifth, designated hitter Vin Galletti. Batting sixth at third base, Steve Marino. In the 7th spot behind the plate, Riley Moore. Hitting eighth in left field, Edison Sanchez. And batting ninth at shortstop, Francisco Rosario. On the mound for the Southern Illinois Miners tonight is Dan Ludwig. Ludwig enters this one with a record of 6-1. and an ERA sitting at 3.10 for your home Washington Wild Things. They enter this one with a record of 27-23, led by their manager Greg Langben. They'll lead off with their second baseman Jamadrick Magruder, batting second at third base Ricky Rodriguez, hitting third in center field Chris Grayson, batting fourth right fielder Dave Popkins, hitting fifth designated hitter Jimmy Yezzo, batting sixth in left field Grant Fink, hitting seventh at first base Logan Uxa, batting eighth behind the plate Kyle Pollock, and batting ninth at shortstop Austin Wobrock. On the mound for your Washington Wild Things, right-hander Trevor Foss enters this one with a record of 7-2 and a 2.36 ERA. As we said, a very good pitching matchup for you tonight. Dan Ludwig facing Trevor Foss. With Trevor Foss has been having a spectacular year for your Washington Wild Things. 7 wins, 2 losses. Currently good for second in the Frontier League in that win category with 7. He throws strikes, likes to use the corners, and when he's spotting his pitches, it's going to be a very good day for the Washington Wild Things. On the mound to face him, Dan Ludwig, and Ludwig just as good as Trevor Foss. 6-1, the 3.10 ERA. Pounds the strike zone, gets a lot of early contact. So a very good matchup today between two very talented pitchers in Game 2 of this 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Well, the lineups have been exchanged, and the players are just about ready to take the field. So we're going to take one more break, and when we come back, we're going to have the national anthem for you and also our first pitch. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things Baseball, getting you ready for Game 2 of a 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Last night did not go as the Wild Things planned, as the Southern Illinois Miners took a 4-2 victory and improved to 35-17 on the season. The Wild Things taking the loss, went to 27-23, currently sit in second place in the Frontier League East standings, a game back of the Joliet Slammers, who won last night and went to 29-23. If you're looking to come out to Consol Energy Park for some more Washington Wild Things baseball, have Game 3 of this series tomorrow at 5:05, and then July 20th and 21st, the homestand continues with a 3-game series against the River City Rascals. July 20th, a doubleheader starting at 6:05 with the Rascals, and Game 2 of that series about a half hour after the conclusion of Game number 1. It's a bucket hat night here at Consol Energy Park. $15, you get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat, and then the series will conclude Thursday night at 7:05 as your Washington Wild Things and the River City Rascals wrap up that 3-game series on Thirsty Thursday. All beer and soda, just $1 on Thursday. So come out and cheer on your Washington Wild Things. You got Logan Uxa, the Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week. You got your All-Stars, Ricky Rodriguez, Dave Popkins, Zach Roach, Trevor Foss. Well, it's all exciting here at Consol Energy Park and the House of Thrills. Well, the players are now taking the field currently, so we're just about ready for the national anthem here as we get you ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series here at Consol Energy Park. And now as the players come out of the dugout, we're going to take you down to Consol Energy Park's field and PA announcer Bill DeFabio for the playing of tonight's national anthem. Keep it tuned right here to the MSA Sports Network for more coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Washington Wild Things. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, would you please rise? Gentlemen and boys, please remove your caps. Performing tonight's national anthem, let's welcome Mr. John Patterson. John? Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last evening, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School, lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, officially ready for baseball here in Game 2 of this 3-game series. As your Wild Things are on the field, they take the field like this, outfield left to right. Grant Fink, Chris Grayson, and Dave Popkins. Left side of the infield held down by Ricky Rodriguez and Austin Wolbrock. Right side by Jamadrick Magruder and Logan Uxut. It'll be Kyle Pollock behind the plate, catching tonight's starter, Trevor Foss. Foss enters this one with a record of 7-2. Does have a save on the year, a 2.36 ERA, appearing in his 13th game, making his 12th start. Has thrown 80 innings of work, giving up 25 runs, 21 earned on 72 hits, 56 strikeouts to 9 walks on the season for Foss so far. The lineup he'll face tonight looks like this for the Miners. They'll lead off with their center fielder Aaron Gates, batting second in right field, Nolan Early. Hitting third at second base, Craig Massey. Batting fourth, the first baseman, Alex De Leon. Batting fifth, designated hitter Vin Galletti. Batting sixth at third base, Steve Marino. Hitting seventh behind the plate, Riley Moore. Batting eighth in left field, Edison Sanchez. And batting ninth at shortstop will be Francisco Rosario. On the mound for the Southern Illinois Miners, Dan Ludwig. We talked about Ludwig earlier. Record of 6-1 and a 3.10 ERA. Trevor Foss finishing up his warm-up tosses here. And we're just about ready for baseball here at a packed Consol Energy Park. Almost all the way full here in Washington County, Pennsylvania, for a great Saturday night baseball game. Making his way to the plate to lead things off will be the center fielder Aaron Gates. Gates enters this one hitting .316, 5 home runs, and 31 RBIs out of that leadoff spot. Your Washington Wild Things today wearing special jerseys that'll be auctioned off after the game today. They are white tops with red, white, and black stripes on the bottom of the jersey. The Southern Illinois Miners in their black alternate jerseys with the white lettering. Game 2 of 3 just about to get underway here at Consol Energy Park in front of a packed crowd here for tonight's Frontier League action. Gates stepping in now, and Trevor Foss looks in, has his sign, and here's the first pitch of the ball game. And it is in there at the knees for a strike. No balls and a strike. First pitch tonight officially thrown at 7:09 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's currently 83 degrees. First pitch time and temperature brought to you by State Line Grocery and Hotspot. Foss set. Here's the 0-1. And this ball hit to right field and deep. Dave Popkins going back to the track. And this one is gone. A solo home run to start the game, and the Southern Illinois Miners take the lead right off the bat. Second pitch of the game is over the wall, and the Miners lead 1-0. Aaron Gates' 6th home run of the year, as the Miners take a 1-0 lead. Not the start that Trevor Foss envisioned coming out of the bullpen, but it looked to bounce back as Nolan Early stepping in. The right fielder Early so far on the year is hitting .267, 4 home runs, and 31 RBIs. Aaron Gates' 6th home run of the year, and the Southern Illinois Miners have a 1-0 lead over your Washington Wild Things. Foss set. Here's the pitch. And this ball hitting the left field over the head of Wolbrock, and that's in for a base hit. Back-to-back hits to start the game for the Southern Illinois Miners, attacking Trevor Foss early here, getting the solo home run and the single with nobody out. Nobody out, a runner at first, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. So 3 pitches into the game, Trevor Foss already down 1-0. The solo home run by Aaron Gates to lead things off, and now the single by Nolan Early. Craig Massey enters this one hitting .335, 5 home runs, and 23 RBIs. Early taking his lead from first. Foss has his sign, he's set, and the pitch on the way. And this one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. For Trevor Foss, we've talked about it. 7 complete games this year, looking for complete game number 8, and he's been really dominant on the mound. Just 2 bad starts. Both of those bad starts coming against Joliet. Also a not-so-good start against Traverse City, but only 2 losses on the year. Foss checks first, has his sign, and the 1-0. And that one's outside for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. But right now in this start, Trevor Foss not starting it the way he wants to. The solo home run by Aaron Gates, followed by the single by Nolan Early as a runner at first, 1 man out. and Southern Illinois leading by a score of 1-0. On the base paths for the Miners tonight, coaching at third base, manager Mike Pinto, and at first base, it'll be a revolving door of different players coaching over there for the Miners. Trevor Foss looks in to Kyle Pollock. Foss has his sign. He's set. Checks first base, and the 2-0 on the way. And this ball hit foul back to the screens. The count will go to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Craig Massey. Southern Illinois jumping out to the early lead on the leadoff home run by Aaron Gates. They lead 1-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Trevor Foss on the mound for your Wild Things today. Looks in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks early over there at first. And the 2-1 on the way. And this ball grounded towards first. Logan Uxa handles it to second for 1 onto first. And it's not going to be in time for the double play. So a fielder's choice for Craig Massey. 3-6 on the putout. Nolan Early eliminated at second. And that is the first out of the inning here in the top of the first. That'll bring up the number 4 man, first baseman Alex DeLeon. DeLeon hitting .287, 8 home runs, 41 RBIs. Currently good for second on this Southern Illinois Miners team in the home run category. 1 out top of the first. Southern Illinois leads 1-0 on the Aaron Gates solo home run as Trevor Foss looks to limit the damage here in the first. Foss looking in, has his sign, he's set. And the pitch on the way. And this one is called a strike on the outside corner, no balls and a strike. With Trevor Foss, what you usually see is him working the corners, likes to go inside to outside, and when he's locating his pitches, he's one of the toughest pitchers in this league to hit. His fastball gets up near 88, 89 miles an hour, also mixes in a changeup and a curveball to try to get swings and misses. Foss looks in, checks first, and the 0-1 pitch. And that one swung on and missed in the dirt. There's the curveball we talked about from Trevor Foss, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2, 1 out top of the first. A run in on the Aaron Gates solo home run to start this game. There is a runner at first. Craig Massey hitting to a fielder's choice. He stands over there at first base for the Miners. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 man out. Foss looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-2 on the way. And that one's outside and in the dirt for a ball. DeLeon laying off, and the count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 man out. Craig Massey over there at first base for the Southern Illinois Miners. Massey on the year, 12 stolen bases in 44 games played, so he can take off if he needs to. Foss looks in, has his sign, checks over there at first, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And it's swung on a miss in the dirt, and Alex DeLeon strikes out. That is out number 2. First strikeout of the day for Trevor Foss. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Vin Galletti. Galletti so far in his Miners season has hit .230, 3 home runs, and 11 RBIs. Started the year with the Gateway Grizzlies, but then was released and picked up by the Southern Illinois Miners, now the Miners' designated hitter. Mike Pinto is using the same lineup as last night, all same positions and same people. So carbon copy of last night's lineup. Foss set in the pitch, and that one's in the dirt, blocked by Pollock. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 outs here in the top of the first. 1-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Trevor Foss giving up the leadoff home run to Aaron Gates. So Foss looking to get this final out of the inning and get his team to the bat racks here in this one. Foss looks in, checks first, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-0 on the way. And that ball lined down the left field line, hooking, and go back behind the Southern Illinois Miners bullpen. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Vin Galletti, DH'd last night for the Southern Illinois Miners. As we said, the same lineup being used by the Miners today as they did in last night's ball game. Trevor Foss looks in, has his sign, he's set, checks first, and the 1-1. And that one's in the dirt for a ball, 2 balls and a strike. Trevor Foss following behind Vin Galletti here. Foss does not like to work from behind in the count. He has struggled at times getting back into counts when he falls behind. But if he's working ahead, he can locate the pitch where he wants to and makes opposing batters swing at his pitches. He's set, checks first, and the 2 ball, 1 strike pitch. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the first, 1-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Craig Massey, the runner at first after he hit into a fielder's choice. Foss shakes off the first sign, now has one he likes. He's set, checks first, and the 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. Massey taking off for second, and this one swung on and missed, and that is out number 3. One run in the inning on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After half an inning of play, the score, Southern Illinois 1, your Washington Wild Things coming to bat. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get to sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the first, and the score, Southern Illinois 1, your Washington Wild Things nothing. The Miners line up defensively like this. In the outfield, left to right, it's Edison Sanchez, Aaron Gates, and Nolan Early. Left side of the infield held down by Steve Marino and Francisco Rosario. Craig Massey and Alex De Leon on the right side, and it'll be Riley Moore behind the plate catching today's starter, Dan Ludwig. Ludwig enters this one with a record of 6-1, a 3.10 ERA, making his 10th start of the season, appearing in his 10th game. Has thrown 58 innings of work, giving up 22 runs, 20 earned on 57 hits, 34 strikeouts, and 11 walks on the season. The lineup he'll face for your Washington Wild Things looks like this. They'll lead off with their second baseman, Jamadrick Magruder, batting second. And playing at third base is Ricky Rodriguez. Hitting third and center field, Chris Grayson. Batting fourth and playing in right field, Dave Popkins. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, Jimmy Yezzo. Hitting sixth in left field, Grant Fink. Batting seventh at first base, Logan Aksa. Hitting eighth behind the plate, Kyle Pollock. And batting ninth at shortstop is Austin Wolbrock. On the mound for your Wild Things, as you saw, was Trevor Foss. Foss enters this one with a record of 7-2 and a 2.36 ERA. Jamadrick Magruder getting ready to make his way to the plate to begin things here in the home half of the first, with his team down by a score of 1-0. Magruder making his way to the plate now. Magruder on the year hitting 500, no home runs, and 1 RBI. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, he's set, here's the pitch. And Magruder takes this first one for a strike on the inside corner, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Jamadrick Magruder, the leadoff man for your Washington Wild Things. Has been the leadoff man since joining the Wild Things this season, playing in his 4th game. Next pitch is swung on and missed by Magruder, no balls and 2 strikes. Dan Ludwig likes to attack the strike zone, as he will attack early and often and gets early contact outs. Ludwig set, here's the 0-2 pitch, and this one swung on and missed by Magruder. He strikes out. They'll have to throw down to first to complete the strikeout, and it's a strikeout 2-3 put out, and there's one away here in the bottom of the first. That'll bring up the third baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far, 305, 5 home runs, and 20 RBIs. Here in the bottom of the first, 1-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. As Aaron Gates provided the first run for the Southern Illinois Miners. Ludwig set, here's the pitch, and Rodriguez takes this one in the dirt for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. The first ball from Dan Ludwig today. As we said, Ludwig likes to pound the strike zone. Has good strikeout numbers, 34 strikeouts in 58 innings. Has good control as well, just 11 walks in those 58. Next pitch down and out, down below the knees for a ball, and the count goes to 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes on Wild Things All-Star third baseman Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez a reserve in the All-Star game this week. Ludwig set, here's the 2-0 pitch, and Rodriguez takes this one for a strike at the letters. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Ricky Rodriguez in the number 2 hole here for the Washington Wild Things, as he has been for actually most of the season. Ludwig set the 2-1. And lined into right field, and this one will carry out to Nolan Early out there, and he'll make the catch for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for your Washington Wild Things, and that brings up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far in his 7th game for the Wild Things, hitting .259, no home runs, and 3 RBIs. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. 1-0, the Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things. Chris Grayson coming to the Wild Things from the Sioux Falls Canaries, where he hit 229, 2 homers, and 9 RBIs. Ludwig setting the pitch, and Grayson to right field and deep. Watching it go exit stage right as Nolan early, it's gone. Chris Grayson's first Wild Things home run, and your Wild Things have tied the game at 1. Grayson's first home run of the season, and when you need an attorney to hit one out of the park for you, yo Keith. That home run brought to you by Keith Owen Campbell, attorney at law. Chris Grayson's first Wild Things home run, and your Wild Things have tied this game at 1 here in the bottom of the first. That'll bring up the right fielder, Dave Popkins. Popkins comes into this one hitting .294, 7 home runs, and 24 RBIs. A solo home run for Chris Grayson ties this game at 1. Here's the pitch. Popkins takes it high for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Dave Popkins. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first in a 1-1 game between your Washington Wild Things and the Miners. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and Popkins takes this one in the zone for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. A no-doubter off the bat of Chris Grayson. His first Pittsburgh Pirates Washington Wild Things home run, as it's over the right field wall and ties the game at 1. Ludwig set, here's the 1-1, and Popkins fouls this one off his foot. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Wild Things right fielder Dave Popkins. Popkins a starter in the Frontier League All-Star game this year, starting out in right field. Hit a home run in the All-Star game as he was 1 for 4. Ludwig set, here's the 1-2 pitch. And Popkins takes this one outside for a ball. Count goes even at 2-2. Chris Grayson taking the first pitch he saw of the game and lining it over that right field wall to tie the game at 1. We said it's going to be a pitcher's duel, and this one will be interesting. The 2-2, and Popkins in the left field, and that'll fall for a base hit. The 2-out base runner for the Washington Wild Things. The base hit from Popkins gets a guy on, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo so far in the year, 228 home runs and 26 RBIs. Currently leads the Washington Wild Things in the home run category this season. Runner at first, 2 men out. 1-1 the score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Dan Ludwig, the left-handed pitcher, versus Jimmy Yezzo, left-handed batter. Ludwig set, here's the pitch, and Yezzo takes this one for a strike at the knees, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things DH, back to normal. Last night, Yezzo getting the start at first base, and Uxa, the designated hitter. Back to normal tonight, Yezzo at the DH spot, Uxa at first base. Ludwig checks first, here's the 0-1, and Yezzo fouls this one off to the left. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on the Wild Things DH. Runner at first is Dave Popkins as he singled following the solo home run by Chris Grayson. Grayson's first as a Washington Wild Thing. Dan Ludwig looking in, has his sign, checks first, and the 0-2 pitch. And Yezzo a swing and a miss and a pitch in the dirt, and that is out number 3. However, the Wild Things do get a run in the inning on 2 hits, no errors, and a man left on. After 1 inning of play, the score, the Washington Wild Things 1, Southern Illinois Miners 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the second, and the score, Your Washington Wild Things 1, Southern Illinois Miners 1. Last inning for the Miners, Aaron Gates led things off with a solo home run. Gates' 6th home run of the year. That gave the Miners a 1-0 lead. Then Nolan Early would single. Craig Massey would hit into a fielder's choice, replacing Nolan Early on base before Alex De Leon and Vin Galletti back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning. Due up here in the top of the second, Steve Marino, Riley Moore, and Edison Sanchez, 6, 7, and 8, facing off against Trevor Foss. And besides that home run, Trevor Foss pretty good in that first inning, only threw 16 pitches in the inning, giving up the 2 hits, a homer and a single, while getting the fielder's choice by Craig Massey, a strikeout of De Leon, and a strikeout of Vin Galletti. This series continues tomorrow at 5:05 p.m. A Kids Day here at Consol Energy Park. All kids can run the bases after the game for Game 3 of this 3-game series. Hopefully the Wild Things can come back and win tonight and make this series tied at 1 going into tomorrow. Foss finishes with his warm-up tosses, and that'll bring up Steve Marino, the third baseman. Marino enters this one currently hitting .310 with 11 home runs and 46 RBIs. Leads the Southern Illinois Miners team in both homers and RBIs on the season. The captain of these Southern Illinois Miners. 1-1 here in the top of the second. Nobody out between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. We talked about it. Trevor Foss liking to work the corners, moves outside to inside, and when he gets to 2 strikes, really likes using the bottom half of the zone. The 0-1, and that one's low and outside. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Steve Marino over at third base, just as he was last night. Foss looking in. Here's the 1-1. And this one's outside as well. Foss falling behind, 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Trevor Foss, 7 complete games on the season. The Frontier League record is 9 for a season, only 2 behind that. That record set back in 2000. The 2-1, this one grounded to short. Austin Wobrock handles it. Throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 1. So a much better start here in the second than he had in the first inning. 1 up, 1 down, and that'll bring up the catcher Riley Moore. Moore so far in the year hitting .371, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs. Moore currently the team leader in average for the Southern Illinois Miners. 1 out top of the second. 1-1 the score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. The umpires for tonight's game, behind home plate, Jim Staley, and on the bases, Mark Schmidt. So a flip-flop of last night's umpiring crew. Here's Foss's pitch, and that one's on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Trevor Foss leads his team with 56 strikeouts in 80 innings of work. Has 2 strikeouts so far today. Foss looks in. Here's the 0-1. And this ball lined down the left field line and deep, but it's hooking foul, and the count will go to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Riley Moore. Moore behind the plate for the Southern Illinois Miners tonight. Their starting catcher, Tony DeMello, went on the disabled list prior to this series, so Riley Moore is doing all of the catching duty. The emergency catcher, if needed, would be Alex De Leon. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And a check swing by Moore. Did he go around? No, says Mark Schmidt in the field, so the count will go to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Trevor Foss works quickly on the mound. Likes to get his sign and get the ball out and over the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out from a packed Consol Energy Park. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that one's just inside for a ball. Count will go even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count here at Consol Energy Park. Game 2 of 3 between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. A very good pitching matchup tonight with Trevor Foss and Dan Ludwig on the mound. Both have had very good success this season. Foss set. Here's the 2-2. And that one swung on and missed in the dirt. And that is out number 2 as Pollock tags out Riley Moore to complete the strikeout. 2 up, 2 down here in the second. The third strikeout of the day for Trevor Foss. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Edison Sanchez. Sanchez enters this one hitting .294, no home runs, and 1 RBI. 2 outs top of the second. 1-1 the score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Sanchez at the plate, the number 8 hitter in this order for the Miners. Foss set. Here's the pitch. And this one grounded right back to the mound. Trevor Foss will handle it. Flips on to Ux at first, and that's in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Miners here in the second. And after 1.5 the score, Your Washington Wild Things won, Southern Illinois Miners won. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05, first pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Consol Energy Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uxa, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.washingtonwildthings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the second in the score. The Washington Wild Things won, and the Southern Illinois Miners won. Last inning for your Wild Things, Jamadrick Magruder struck out to start things. Then Ricky Rodriguez flew out. Chris Grayson came through with 2 outs. A solo home run, his first Washington Wild Things home run. That made the score 1-1 before Dave Popkins singled and Jimmy Yezzo struck out to end the inning. So Trevor Foss and Dan Ludwig having identical first innings as they both threw 16 pitches, both gave up a solo home run and a single in the inning, and both struck out 2 men in their first inning of work. Foss getting the Miners 1-2-3 in the second. See if Dan Ludwig can return with a 1-2-3 inning of his own. Hopefully the Wild Things can break through. Due up for the Wild Things this inning, Grant Fink, Logan Uxa, and Kyle Pollock, 6, 7, and 8, facing off against Ludwig. Fink makes his way to the plate. Grant Fink on the year hitting .210, 3 home runs, and 11 RBIs. His 3 home runs are good to be tied for 4th on this Wild Things team. He tied with Logan Uxa. The pitch, and that one's in there on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. Talking to Miners broadcaster Jason Garrett before the game, Ludwig likes to pound the zone and will throw almost exclusively strikes. Gets a lot of early contact. The 0-1, and this one fouled off to the right. The count will go to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Grant Fink. Fink getting the start out in left field this evening. We saw Andrew Heck out there in last night's ball game, game 1 of this doubleheader. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, and the 0-2 pitch. And Fink takes this one outside for a ball. Count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes here on Grant Fink. 34 strikeouts on the year for Fink. Was a very free swinger in the beginning of the year, but has since settled down and has used more patience at the plate. Here's the 1-2 from Ludwig. And Fink takes this one for a called strike 3, the 3rd strikeout of the day for Dan Ludwig, and that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up the first baseman, Logan Uxa. Uxa on the year is currently hitting .305, 3 home runs, and 9 RBIs. Tied for second on the team with that .305 average. Jamadrick Magruder leading things with his .500 average on the season. Uxa named the Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week. Joined us on the pregame show. I was glad to talk to him before the game. And Uxa lines this one over the head. No, it'll be caught by Craig Massey. Massey was out there in shallow right field. Looked like that ball was going to have enough oomph to get over his head. Unfortunately for Logan Uxa, Massey able to go back and make the catch on that one. And that is out number 2. That'll bring up the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Pollock enters this one currently hitting .226, no home runs, and 4 RBIs. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And Dan Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Pollock grounds this one foul off to the left. Count goes to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Kyle Pollock behind the plate for the Wild Things tonight, catching Trevor Foss. Pollock, the primary catcher on this Washington Wild Things team. Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And Pollock to left field and deep. Going back is Sanchez, and this ball will exit stage left. A no-doubter off the bat of Kyle Pollock, his first home run of the year, and your Washington Wild Things lead this one 2-1 over the Southern Illinois Miners. Pollock's first, and when you need an attorney to hit one out of the park for you, Yo, Keith. That home run brought to you by Keith Owen Campbell, attorney at law. Pollock's first, and your Wild Things take a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the second. That brings up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock so far on the year, currently hitting 200, 1 home run, and 11 RBIs. Ludwig said, here's the pitch, and Wobrock grounds this one to second. Handled over there by Massey. Throw on to first is in time for out number 3. However, Kyle Pollock gives your Wild Things the lead on a solo home run. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. After 2, the score. Your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Southern Illinois Miners 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the top of the third, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 1. The last inning for the Miners, Steve Marino grounded out to start things, then Riley Moore struck out, and Edison Sanchez grounded out to end the inning. Due up here in the top of the third, Francisco Rosario, Aaron Gates, and Nolan Early, 9, 1, and 2, facing off against Trevor Foss. Sundays are Kids Club days here at Consol Energy Park. Children 12 and under can join the club for free. They get lots of perks, including a t-shirt, giveaway items, and free tickets to all Kids Club days. For more information, log on to WashingtonWildThings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. The Kids Club is sponsored by Kona Ice, Med Express, PA Leadership Charter School, Pepsi, and Frito-Lay. Tomorrow's the next Kids Club day. 5:05 first pitch between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners as they wrap up this 3-game series. On the mound for your Washington Wild Things will be Chase Cunningham. The starter for Southern Illinois is still to be announced in this one, but talking to the other broadcaster, it will either be Rick Teasley or Jarrett Miller facing off against Chase Cunningham. Trevor Foss finished with his warm-up tosses, and that will bring to the plate the number 9 hitter in this Miners order, Francisco Rosario. Rosario enters this one currently hitting .225, no home runs, and 11 RBIs for the Miners shortstop on the season. Foss bouncing back after a first inning in which he gave a solo home run to start the game to Aaron Gates. Last inning got the Miners 1-2-3. Rosario on his way to the plate, and we are ready for baseball here in the top of the third. Score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 1. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch, and Rosario is swinging and a miss. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Last time Foss took the hill, only gave up 1 run. It was an unearned run in a complete game, his 7th complete game of the season. Foss looking in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And Rosario takes this one to the dirt. Count goes even at 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count with Trevor Foss. We'll see a lot of pitches in the dirt today. Likes to get the opposing batters to swing and miss. Got a couple already today. See if he can keep that going. The 1-1. And he did go around, says home plate umpire Jim Scaly. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on the Miners shortstop, Rosario. Made a couple of nice defensive plays in yesterday's game. The 1-2, and that one's in the dirt. Count will go even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. 26 pitches through the first 2 innings for Trevor Foss. 16 in the first, 10 in the second. So far, so good on the pitch count field. Trevor Foss looking into Kyle Pollock. Foss has his sign. Here's the 2 ball, 2 strike pitch. And this one's low for a ball. Count goes full to 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Aaron Gates, the on-deck man for the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss did not walk a batter in his last start, looking to avoid walking one here. The 3-2, and this one's fouled away. Count will remain 3 balls, 2 strikes. Rosario just staying alive on that one as he had to go below the zone, below the knees, in fact, to swing at that ball. Just couldn't come up with it and get it in play. So a fouled off, and the count remains 3-2. Foss has his sign. Here's the 3 ball, 2 strike pitch. And this one grounded toward second. Magruder has it, and now he bobbles it. Throw on to first, and it's not going to be in time to get Rosario. So we'll see if they give Rosario a hit or an error on Jamadric Magruder. It was a routine ground ball to second. Magruder tried to get the handle on it, but just could not, and they will give the error to Magruder. So it's an E4, and the leadoff man reaches for the Southern Illinois Miners. That'll bring up the center fielder, Aaron Gates. Gates, a solo home run in his last at-bat, his 6th home run of the year. And in last night's ball game, Gates would end up going 0 for 4 with a fielder's choice, a flyout, and 2 groundouts on the night. Runner at first, nobody out. Rosario over there after reaching on the error. Foss has his sign, checks Rosario, and the pitch. And this one grounded to first. Uxa has it to second for 1, on to first, and not in time for the double play. As Gates just beating that one out, so fielder's choice, 3-6 on the putout. Rosario erased at second base, and Gates taking over Rosario's spot at first. That brings up the right fielder, Nolan Early. Early singled in his first at-bat, and in last night's game went 1 for 4, an RBI single, also grounded out and flew out twice. Early being ejected from last night's ball game, as he argued a great play by Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez was able to make a backhand, threw across the first, and the throw looked like it just beat him by a step. Early was not happy about it, and Early got tossed from the game. Foss looks over to Gates at first. Here's his pitch, and Early pops this one up on the left side. Ricky Rodriguez giving chase in a foul territory towards the Miners' bullpen, and he makes a nice running catch for out number 2. Rodriguez slipping on that bullpen turf as he had to keep track of that ball. A very nice play by Rodriguez, and there are 2 outs here in the top of inning number 3. That'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey so far 0 for 1. Reached on a fielder's choice in his first at-bat. Last night, Massey would go 1 for 4 with a solo home run, his 5th home run of the year. He also flew out twice and struck out looking in the game. 2 outs here in the top of the third. 2-1, your Washington Wild Things lead over the Southern Illinois Miners. Trevor Foss has his sign. He's set, checks first, and the pitch. Here it comes. Taking off for second is Gates, and he'll get in there with the stolen base. So Aaron Gates moving up. He took off early against Trevor Foss, a very good jump, and getting in there with his first stolen base of the actually his 5th stolen base of the 2016 season. So 5 steals now for Aaron Gates. He stands at second. Trevor Foss has his sign. He's set, and the 1-0. And this ball grounded towards second. Magruder charging. He has it. And he'll flip to Uxa for out number 3. 4-3 on the putout. And that ends the inning. No runs in the inning, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on. After 2.5, the score. Your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Southern Illinois Miners 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute? That keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Currently, the Wild Things lead this one 2-1 over the Southern Illinois Miners. Going to the bottom of the third. Last inning for your Washington Wild Things. Grant Fink struck out to start things. Then Logan Uxa lined out, and Kyle Pollock came through with his first home run of the 2016 season. A solo shot that gave the Wild Things a 2-1 lead. Then Austin Wobrock would ground out to end the inning. Due up here in the third, Jamadric Magruder, Ricky Rodriguez, and Chris Grayson, 1, 2, and 3, facing off against Dan Ludwig. Ludwig so far so good, just 2 mistake pitches in the solo home runs by Grayson and Pollock. Jamadric Magruder making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the bottom of the third. Magruder so far 0 for 1, struck out in his first at-bat. In last night's game, reached base 4 times, ended up going 1 for 2 with 3 walks, also singled and struck out on the evening against the Southern Illinois Miners. So Magruder making his way to the plate. Kids Day tomorrow. Kids get to run the bases after the game for Game 3 of this 3-game series. between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Magruder stepping in right now, leads the team with his .500 average, playing in his 4th game for the Washington Wild Things. Ludwig setting the pitch, and Magruder takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Magruder very patient in last night's game. As we said, 3 walks, 2 of which against the starter Dylan Nuremberg. Ludwig set, here's the 0-1, and this one's fouled off at the plate, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Jamadric Magruder out there at second base. Has been the second baseman for the Wild Things since joining the team right before the All-Star break. Joined the team on July the 9th, was his first game as a Washington Wild Thing. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Dan Ludwig looks in. Has his sign. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And Magruder a swing and a miss at the ball in the dirt again. Moore will have to throw down to complete the strikeout. He does. So it's a strikeout and a 2-3 putout. There's one away here in the bottom of the 3rd. That'll bring up the 3rd baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far 0 for 1, flew out in his first at-bat. And in last night's game, Rodriguez would end up going 1 for 5, singled, flew out, struck out, grounded out, and struck out again. 2 strikeouts on the night for Rodriguez last night. Looking to bounce back tonight. Ludwig set. Here's the pitch. And Rodriguez takes this one in the zone for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. The only offense for your Wild Things so far. 2 solo home runs. One by Chris Grayson, one by Kyle Pollock. Ludwig set. Here's the 0-1. And Rodriguez grounds this to 3rd. Marino has it. He'll throw on to 1st. And that's in time for out number 2. So quickly 2 up, 2 down for Dan Ludwig. And that'll bring to the plate center fielder Chris Grayson. Grayson so far a solo home run in his first at-bat. His first home run for the Washington Wild Things, as that home run made it 1-0. In last night's game, Chris Grayson was 1 for 5, singled, flew out twice, struck out, and grounded out in the contest. So Grayson at the plate, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. 2-1, your Washington Wild Things lead over the Southern Illinois Miners. Ludwig looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Grayson chops this one foul off to the right, and the count will go to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. That one initially landed in fair territory, but bounced over the foul line for a foul ball. No balls and a strike on the bases for your Wild Things. Manager Greg Langben coaching over the 3rd, and hitting coach Mike Marshall over at first base. Ludwig set. Here's the 0-1. And this ball grounded foul off to the right, and the count will go to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Only 8 pitches needed last inning for Dan Ludwig against the Wild Things. So far in this inning has only thrown 7. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out. Chris Grayson looking to get on base here with 2 outs. Ludwig set the 0-2. And that one's outside for a ball. Grayson wisely laying off, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Chris Grayson. Grayson, the new center fielder for the Wild Things after Jamal Austin retired. And Grayson signed on. Here's the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And a swing and a miss at the ball in the dirt by Grayson. Throw down to 1st will complete the strikeout and end the inning. So 1-2-3 go the Wild Things in the 3rd. And after 3 innings of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Southern Illinois Miners 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 4th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 1. Last inning for the Miners, Francisco Rosario reached on an error to lead things off. Then Aaron Gates hit into a fielder's choice, replacing Rosario at first base. Gates would then steal second base before Nolan Early popped out in foul territory, and Craig Massey grounded out to end the inning. Due up here in the 4th, Alex De Leon, Vin Galletti, and Steve Marino, 4, 5, and 6, facing off against Trevor Foss. Now, last time Trevor Foss was on the mound, was against the Schaumburg Boomers right before the All-Star break on July the 10th. In that game, he picked up his 7th complete game of the year, went 9 innings, gave up 1 run, no earned on 9 hits, no walks, and 8 strikeouts. The only run coming in via an error, so not affecting Foss's ERA, which coming in tonight set at 2.36. Currently good for third on this Washington Wild Things team behind Zach Rhodes and, Brian O'Keefe. As we said, he's just 2 games shy of the Frontier League record for complete games in a season. He has 9 complete games is the record that was set by Matt Sheets and Tony Hardin back in the 2000 season. His 7 wins are good for second in the Frontier League, and his 2.36 ERA has him in 5th in that category. Coming to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the 4th is Alex DeLeon. DeLeon so far 0 for 1, grounded out in his first at-bat, and DeLeon last night ended up going 0 for 3, walked, flew out twice, and grounded out in the contest against the Wild Things in Game 1. Nobody out top of the 4th, 2-1, your Washington Wild Things leading over the Miners. Foss has his sign, here's the pitch, and DeLeon takes it outside and low for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count, top of the 4th, 2-1, your Washington Wild Things lead over the Miners. Foss looks in, has his sign, here's the 1-0. And that one's in there for a strike, hitting the outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count. We've seen Foss working away, especially early in the count. He's been moving outside to inside on a lot of these hitters early on. Foss looking in, has his sign, here's the 1-1. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner as well, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 3 strikeouts on the day so far for Trevor Foss. He currently leads the team with 56 strikeouts coming into tonight in 80 innings of work. Foss set, here's the 1-2, and that one's in the dirt. Can't get DeLeon to chase, and the count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 37 pitches for Trevor Foss through 3 innings so far. So not bad on his pitch count. Looks to keep that low throughout the game. Foss shakes off the first sign, now has one he likes. He's set, here's the 2-2. And that one's in the dirt as well. Count full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Foss trying to dip that curveball in there. Couldn't get DeLeon to chase after it. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and nobody out. The number 4 hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners here in the top of the 4th. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And DeLeon pops this one up. Shallow right field, Magruder going out. He'll call everyone off, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down here in the top of the 4th, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Vin Galletti. Galletti so far 0 for 1 with a strikeout, and in last night's game, Galletti would go 0 for 4, reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run on the 2-run homer by Steve Marino, would also ground out twice and flew out in the contest. 1 man out here in the top of the 4th. 2 runs, 3 hits, and an error for your Wild Things. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors for the Miners. Foss set, here's the pitch, and that one's low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Vin Galletti, the designated hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss has his sign in the 1-0. And Galletti grounds this one to second. Magruder has it. He'll throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Southern Illinois Miners, and that'll bring in the third baseman, Steve Marino. Marino so far 0 for 1. Grounded out to short his last night's game, went 1 for 4 with a 2-run homer, his 11th home run of the year. Also flew out and grounded out twice in the contest. 2 outs, top of the 4th, 2-1. Your Washington Wild Things leading over the Miners. Foss set, here's the pitch. And this ball grounded foul off to the left past manager Mike Pinto at third base. Count goes to 0-1. No balls and 1 strike. Steve Marino, the captain of these Southern Illinois Miners. Actually, the first captain in Southern Illinois Miners history. So Marino having a breakout season as well. Here's the 0-1, and this one swung on and missed. No balls and 2 strikes. Marino currently coming into the night, Marino hitting .310, 11 homers, 46 RBIs. Leads the team in both home runs and RBIs on the season, and really has had a breakout year for the Southern Illinois Miners, having career high in home runs and average, also RBI, so doing a very nice job for the Miners so far. Foss set, here's the pitch, And this one grounded softly to the right side. Uxa charging, a flip to Foss covering, and it's in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Miners here in the 4th, and after 3.5 the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 4th. And the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 1. Last inning, Wild Things going 1-2-3. Jamadrick Magruder struck out, and a 2-3 putout completed the strikeout. Ricky Rodriguez grounded out, and Chris Grayson struck out to end the inning. Due up here in the 4th for the Wild Things, Dave Popkins, Jimmy Yezzo, and Grant Fink, 4, 5, and 6. Facing Dan Ludwig. And for Ludwig, last time out was against River City. Went 6 1/3, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned on 8 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts in a win that improved him to 6-1 on the season. Ludwig, a very good year for the Miners so far, was picked up because the Miners needed a starter against the normal Corn Belchers. It was either Dan Ludwig or Lars Ligori. Ligori we saw for the Schaumburg Boomers on Sunday right before the All-Star break. They picked up Ludwig, and Ludwig has thrived ever since. Josh Kombrowski from the Southern Illinois Miners had his contract picked up by the Los Angeles Dodgers. So now Dan Ludwig, the ace of this Southern Illinois staff. Dave Popkins making his way to the plate here to lead off the 4th inning. Popkins so far in this one is 1 for 1, singled his first time up. And in last night's game, Popkins would end up going 0 for 3, was intentionally walked, flew out, popped out, and grounded out in last night's ball game. Dan Ludwig looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's low for a ball. Popkins laying off. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. Both runs coming today for the Wild Things via the solo home run. Chris Grayson and Kyle Pollock each hitting their first homers of the season. Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the 1-0. And Popkins checks his swing, and this one's low as well. 2 balls and no strikes. Ludwig falling behind Dave Popkins. 2 balls, no strikes. Battle of 2 very good pitchers. Ludwig 6-1. Trevor Foss standing in at 7-2. Here's the 2-0 from Ludwig. And Popkins takes this one on the outside corner for a strike. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Here on Dave Popkins, a home run derby participant this year. Also a starter in the 2016 All-Star game. Here's the 2-ball, 1-strike pitch. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. 3-1 on the number 4 hitter for the Washington Wild Things, Dave Popkins. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, the 3-1. And that one's swung on and missed. The count goes full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count here on Dave Popkins. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th. Popkins leading things off for the Washington Wild Things. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, he's set. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And this one swung on and missed. Popkins strikes out, and that's the first out here in the bottom of the 4th. 1 away for the Washington Wild Things, and that brings up the designated hitter, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo so far 0 for 1 with a strikeout to this point. Yezzo at first base in last night's game went 0 for 4, flew out twice in the game, and also grounded out twice. Flew out in the 2nd and 3rd, grounded out in the 6th and 7th innings. Here's the pitch, and Yezzo pops this one up. Behind third base, Steve Marino and Rosario giving chase. Sanchez coming in, and Sanchez will end up making the catch for out number 2. A 1-pitch out for Jimmy Yezzo, and there are 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th. That brings up the left fielder, Grant Fink. Fink so far 0 for 1 in this one. He struck out in his first at-bat. Did not play last night as Andrew Heck played in left field. Heck would end up going 1 for 4 with a single. Also grounded out, flew out, and struck out in yesterday's ball game. 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. 2-1, your Washington Wild Things lead. Dan Ludwig looking in. Ludwig has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And Fink takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things left fielder. Bottom of the fourth, 2-1. The Wild Things leading over the Southern Illinois Miners. Ludwig set. Here's the 1-0. And Fink pops this one up, back behind the plate and foul. Count will go even at 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Grant Fink. Fink, a bench player. It's been really a revolving door in left field for the Washington Wild Things this season. We've seen Andrew Heck out there. We've seen Grant Fink out there. Ricky Rodriguez has played a little bit out there. No one really solidifying that left field spot. The 1-1, and that one's low as well. Ball 2. 2 balls and a strike on Grant Fink. Fink will look to prove he belongs out there in left field in tonight's ball game. Ludwig looking in, has his sign. Here's the 2-1. And this ball grounded foul off to the left. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on Grant Fink. 2 men out here in the bottom of the fourth. As Fink facing off against Dan Ludwig. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, and the 2 ball, 2 strike pitch. And this one's low for a ball, so the count goes full to Fink. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2, 2 men out. Ludwig on the day already has 5 strikeouts against the Wild Things through 3 2/3. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, the 3-2. And this one swung on and missed. Grant Fink strikes out, and that will end the inning. 6th strikeout for Ludwig. 1, 2, 3 go the Wild Things, and after 4, the score, your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Southern Illinois Miners 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 5th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Southern Illinois Miners 1. Last inning, a 1-2-3 inning for Trevor Foss on the mound, as he got Alex De Leon to pop out, Vinny Galletti grounded out, and Steve Marino grounded out to end the inning. Due up here in the 5th, Riley Moore, Edison Sanchez, and Francisco Rosario, 7, 8, and 9, facing off against Trevor Foss. Now, Foss, ever since giving up that solo home run in the first, has really calmed down. He just allowed the single after that and has not allowed a hit since that first inning. 2 hits given up. He has allowed 2 other base runners as Francisco Rosario reached on an error and Aaron Gates reached via the fielder's choice. But other than that, the only 2 base runners besides those 2 hits that Foss has allowed on the day. So Trevor Foss really limiting the damage. Has the lead here, and 2 runs could be all it takes to get the victory tonight. Foss looking for his 8th complete game of the season as he's chasing history this year. 9 complete games is the record set in the year 2000. Coming to the plate to lead things off here in the 5th will be Riley Moore, followed by Edison Sanchez and Francisco Rosario. Riley Moore on the night, 0 for 1 so far. Struck out his first time up, and in last night's game, Riley Moore ended up going 0 for 3, grounded out 2 strikeouts and a walk on the evening. Moore, the left-handed batter, stepping in for the second time tonight, struck out in inning number 2, now up here in the 5th. Trevor Foss looking into Kyle Pollock. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. And this ball grounded to second. Jamadrick Magruder has it. Throw on to first, and 1 pitch, 1 away here in the top of the 5th as Riley Moore grounds out, and there's 1 away. That'll bring up the left fielder, Edison Sanchez. Sanchez so far 0 for 1, grounded out in the second inning. And in last night's game, Sanchez ended up going 0 for 2, walked and scored a run in the third, reached on a fielder's choice, and grounded out in last night's game. 1 out top of the 5th, 2-1. Your Washington Wild Things leading over the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss set, here's the pitch, and that one's low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Edison Sanchez. Both Foss and Dan Ludwig working very quickly as we're already in the top of the 5th. The 1-0, and that one swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count. 3 strikeouts today so far for Trevor Foss. Has not walked anybody to this point. Foss looking in, has his sign. He's set in the 1-1. And that one's in the dirt for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Edison Sanchez. Sanchez out in left field when Kyle Pollock hit the no-doubt home run in inning number 2. Foss looks in, has his sign, and the 2-ball, 1-strike pitch. And that one's inside for a ball as well, so the count goes to 3-1. Currently only the 3rd time today that Foss has been in a 3-ball count. Went 3-2 in the 4th inning to Alex De Leon, and went 3-2 in the 3rd inning to Francisco Rosario. Here's the 3-1, and that one's a called strike. Count goes full here to Edison Sanchez. 3 balls and 2 strikes, with Francisco Rosario the on-deck hitter. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, top of the 5th. Foss has his sign. Here's the 2-2 pitch, or 3-2 pitch, excuse me. And that one's low, ball 4. First walk of the night for Trevor Foss. First base runner allowed since the 3rd inning. And it's a 1-out walk, has somebody on for the Southern Illinois Miners. That'll bring up Francisco Rosario. Rosario so far 0 for 1, reached on an error in his first at-bat. 1 out, runner at first here in the top of the 5th. 2-1 the score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Trevor Foss looking in. Foss has his sign, checks Sanchez at first, and the pitch coming to Rosario. And this one fouled away back to the screen. Count goes to no balls and a strike, and actually hit off a metal pole behind home plate, one of the metal poles that hold up the screen, and bounced right back to Trevor Foss. So Foss making a nice play on the rebound. It doesn't count as a fair ball, but Foss tried to sell it, and the count is no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Francisco Rosario. Edison Sanchez has his lead from first. He walked with 1 away. Foss has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And that one's in there for a strike as well. No balls and 2 strikes. So after the walk, Trevor Foss bouncing back and getting the first 2 pitches across for strikes here with 1 out in the top of the 5th. Trevor Foss looks in, has his sign. He's set. Checks Sanchez over there at first. And the no ball, 2-strike pitch. And this ball grounded, base hit into right field. So a walk and a base hit have runners at first and second here for the Miners with 1 away. And that'll bring up the top of the order, Aaron Gates. Gates so far 1 for 2. A solo home run in the first and reached on a fielder's choice in inning number 3. 1 out here in the top of the 5th. 2-1 your Washington Wild Things lead over the Southern Illinois Miners with Gates coming to the plate. Gates' 6th home run of the season, that solo home run back in the first inning. Gates also comes into this one with a 316 average. A 316 average good for 3rd on this team behind Riley Moore and Craig Massey. Foss has his sign, checks second. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Aaron Gates. Runners at first and second as Edison Sanchez at second. He walked. Francisco Rosario at first after his single. Trevor Foss looking in, has his sign. He's set. Checks second and the 0-1. And this ball grounded to second. Jamadrick McGruder, a diving stop, throw to second, and it's in time for the out. Magruder making a great play to rob Aaron Gates of a base hit, and he's able to get an out of it. Fielder's choice, 4-6. A great diving stop by Jamadrick Magruder as he erases Rosario at second. There are now 2 outs and runners at the corners, and that'll bring up the right fielder Nolan Early. Early so far 1 for 2, single in the first, and popped out in inning number 3. 2 outs, top of the 5th, runners at first and third as Edison Sanchez at third after he walked, and Aaron Gates at first following the fielder's choice. Trevor Foss looking in to Kyle Pollock. Foss has his sign. He's set. And the pitch on the way. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Nolan Early. Early was ejected from last night's game after arguing a very close call at first base. That one another very close call at second base for Francisco Rosario. A great defensive play by Magruder. Throw over to first, and Aaron Gates gets back in there safely. Gates a stolen base earlier in this game. It was Gates' 5th stolen base of the year in 53 games played. Foss has his sign. He's set. And the 1 ball, no strike pitch. Another throw over. And Gates again back in there. Edison Sanchez at third. Aaron Gates at first. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. The Wild Things leading 2-1 over the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss has his sign. He's set. Checks Pollock. And the 1 no strike pitch on the way. And this one fouled off at the plate. Count goes even to 1 1 strike. Foss trying to get it by him on the inside corner. And all Early could do was foul that pitch away over to the Miners dugout. 1 1 strike. 2 men out here in the top of the 5th. Edison Sanchez, the runner at first. Sanchez at third, Gates at first, and Early at the plate. Foss has his sign. He's set. And the 1 1 strike pitch. And this ball grounded, base hit into left field. Sanchez will score, and this game is now tied at 2. Edison Sanchez coming in on the RBI single by Nolan Early. Early putting it right between the gap between Ricky Rodriguez and Austin Wobrock. And this ball game is now tied 2 apiece. Perfect hitting there by Early, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey so far on the day is 0 for 2, reached on a fielder's choice in the first, grounded out in inning number 3. 2-2 the score here in the top of the 5th. The RBI single by Nolan Early driving in a run. Foss's pitch, and that one's outside for a ball. 1 no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Craig Massey. Hit his solo home run last night, his 5th home run of the season. Game currently tied at 2 between your Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss looking in, has his sign. He's set, checks Gates at second, and the pitch on the way. And that one is low for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Currently 8:11 Eastern Time and 8-1-1. Like wants to remind you to call 8-1-1 before you dig. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 5th, a run in on the RBI single by Nolan Early. Craig Massey now at the plate. Early at first and Gates at second base. Foss looking in, has his sign. He's set. And the 2 no strike pitch. After a check to second, here it comes. And this ball lined into left field. Grant Fink going back on it, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. However, the Miners do get a run in the inning on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. After 4.5 to score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 5th. And the score, your Washington Wild Things 2 and the Southern Illinois Miners 2. Last inning for your Wild Things, Dave Popkins would strike out, Jimmy Yezzo flew out, and Grant Fink struck out to end the inning. Up here in the 5th, Logan Uxa, Kyle Pollock, and Austin Wobrock, 7, 8, and 9, facing off against Dan Ludwig. Ludwig has retired the last 7 Washington Wild Things hitters, as Austin Wobrock grounded out. Kyle Pollock's solo home run was the last hit for your Washington Wild Things. 1 of 3 hits on the night for the Wild Things, 2 of which being home runs. Grayson and Pollock each homered, and Dave Popkins singled. That rounds up the hitting for your Washington Wild Things. 2-2 the score between your Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners here in the bottom of the 5th, and Logan Uxa making his way to the plate. Uxa so far 0 for 1, lined out his first time, and in last night's game, Uxa would end up going 0 for 3. It walked and scored a run, struck out and grounded out twice in yesterday's ball game. Uxa named the Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week. Here's the pitch from Ludwig, and Uxa takes this one for a strike on the inside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things first baseman. Uxa back out there at first base tonight. Saw him working defensively this afternoon during batting practice. Here's the 0-1, and this one grounded foul off to the left. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Uxa was working on taking those throws in the dirt, something he's had a little bit of trouble lately with. And these Wild Things, some of their throws have been a little wild over there at first. So Uxa getting some work with balls in the dirt this afternoon. Here's the 0-2 from Ludwig. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Uxa wisely laying off as that one was in the middle of the right-handed batter's box. Logan Uxa, the left-hander up there, facing the left-hander Dan Ludwig. Ludwig looks in. Shakes off the first sign. Has one he likes. Here's the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Both starting pitchers tonight doing very well. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Wild Things, 1 error. Also 2 runs, 4 hits for the Miners. So both pitchers doing very well. The 2-2. And Uxa hits this one down the right field line. It's hooking. And it'll go back behind the Wild Things bullpen. The count will remain 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on Logan Uxa. No very taxing innings for either pitcher so far. Dan Ludwig, the most he threw was 16 in the first. For Trevor Foss, the most he threw was 18, and that was last inning. Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the 2 ball, 2 strike pitch. And Uxa to right field and deep. It's hooking, and it will go foul. A long foul ball from Logan Uxa. If it was fair, it was gone. But unfortunately, that ball hooking foul, and Uxa will have to do it again. Count even at 2-2. Dan Ludwig looking in, has his sign. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And Uxa takes this one inside for ball 3. Count will go full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Uxa fighting off 2 pitches to stay alive has worked the full count. Kyle Pollock, the on-deck batter for your Wild Things. Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And Uxa pops this one up in foul territory off to the right. Giving chase is De Leon over towards the seats, and this one will go into the stands foul. Count remains 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th. A run coming in the top of the 5th for the Southern Illinois Miners as they took the lead, or they tied the game at 2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. The count to Logan Uxa. Uxa at the plate. Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And this one grounded to second. Handled over there by Craig Massey. He'll throw on to first, and after a long battle, it's a 4-3 putout, and Uxa is retired. An 8-pitch at-bat for Logan Uxa, and that'll bring to the plate to the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Pollock, a solo home run his first time up, his first home run of the season. And Pollock in last night's game went 1 for 3, singled, walked, and scored a run. Also flew out and grounded out in last night's contest. 1 out, bottom of the 5th, 2-2 the score. Here's the pitch, and Pollock grounds this one foul off to the left. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things pitch. Catcher, 8 straight retired for Dan Ludwig on the mound. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, and the 0-1 coming to Pollock. And Pollock to the left center field gap, giving chase is Sanchez and Gates, and Sanchez will make the running catch. That is out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Wild Things here in the 5th, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock so far 0 for 1, and last night's ball game went 1 for 4 with a 2 RBI double, drove in both runs for the Wild Things on that double. Also struck out twice and flew out in the game. Dan Ludwig looking in, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. 2-2 the score between your Wild Things and the Miners. Here's the pitch, and Wobrock swinging a miss at the ball that looked in the dirt. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Austin Wobrock, the number 9 hitter for the Wild Things, drove in RBIs 10 and 11 last night with that 2 RBI double. No balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Southern Illinois Miners, their black alternate jerseys. The Wild Things special white jerseys with red and black stripes. Wobrock bunting. He'll pull back and take a ball. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike here on Austin Wobrock. 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. And 2-2 the score between your Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Both pitchers doing very well. 4 hits allowed for Foss. 3 hits for Ludwig. 2 runs by each pitcher. The 1-1. And that one's a called strike at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Austin Wobrock. Wobrock, the number 9 hitter in the order for the Wild Things. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And Wobrock checks his swing, takes this one low, and the count goes even at 2-2. Ludwig trying to get Woldrock to chase one lower in the zone, as Woldrock did on the first pitch of this at-bat, but this time Woldrock wisely laying off. Ludwig looks in. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And Woldrock to center field. Aaron Gates going back on it, a couple steps in front of the track, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. 1-2-3 go your Wild Things here in the 5th, and after 5 innings of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05, first pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Consol Energy Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uksha, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.washingtonwildthings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball in the top of the 6th. And the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. Trevor Foss on the mound, last inning the Miners tying this game up as Riley Moore grounded out to start things. Then Edison Sanchez would walk and Francisco Rosario would single. There'd be runners at first and second. With one man out, Aaron Gates into a fielder's choice. A nice diving play by Jamadrick Magruder got the team one out at second base, and then Nolan Early came through with an RBI single that scored Edison Sanchez and made the score 2-2. Craig Massey would fly out to end the inning. Due up here in the 6th, Alex De Leon, Vingoletti, and Steven Marino, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters against Trevor Foss. Alex De Leon making his way to the plate. De Leon so far 0 for 2, struck out in the first and popped out in inning number 4. Coming up now here in inning number 6. Pretty quick moving game as both these pitchers attacking the strike zone early and often and getting outs rather quickly. A lot of 1, 2, or 3 pitch outs in this ball game. De Leon stepping in. Trevor Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And this ball lined to the left center field gap, and that'll get down for a base hit. Grayson will cut it off before it gets to the wall, so that'll hold Alex De Leon to a leadoff single. 1-pitch single for De Leon, and that'll bring to the plate designated hitter Vingoletti. Goletti so far 0 for 2 in this ball game. Now Trevor Foss so far through 5+ innings now has given up 5 hits, 2 runs all earned, while striking out 3 and walking 1 in the ball game. He threw 66 pitches coming into this inning, now 67 after the single by Alex De Leon. Now Vingoletti at the plate, 1 out, runner at first. Trevor Foss has his sign, he's set, and the pitch on the way to Goletti. And this ball's in there for a strike at the knees, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count, Alex De Leon at first after his leadoff single with nobody out here in the top of the 6th. The 2-2 score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Trevor Foss has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And this ball grounded to second. Magruder has it to second for 1 on to first, and it's in time for the 4-6-3 double play. Just what Trevor Foss needed. A routine ground ball to second base. Magruder kind of slipping when he got the ball, so was forced to flip to second from his knees. And then the return throw by Austin Woldrock in time to get the double play. That'll bring it to third baseman Steve Marino. Marino so far 0 for 2, grounded out in the second and grounded out in inning number 4. 2 outs, top of the 6th, and the score 2-2 between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Steve Marino. Tie game. Pitcher's duel between Trevor Foss and Dan Ludwig. Foss has his sign, the 1-0. And that one's on the outside corner for a strike. Count goes even at 1-1. Only 3 strikeouts today for Trevor Foss so far. Foss came into this one with 56 strikeouts on the season. Team leader in that category. The 1-1, and that one's outside for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. His season high for strikeouts in a game is 8, which he set last time out. He struck out 8 Schaumburg Boomers before the All-Star break. His previous high before that was 6 strikeouts. 2 balls and a strike here on Steve Marino. Foss has his sign. He's set. Here's the 2-1. And Marino takes this one outside, so the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. 3-1 the count on the Miners third baseman, the captain of this Southern Illinois Miners team. They're first over in the Frontier League West Division. The Washington Wild Things falling to 1 game back of the Joliet Slammers in the Frontier League East Division standings. Wild Things in second now after last night's loss. Foss set the 3-1, and this one hit the right field. Dave Popkins going back on it towards the track, and he'll make the running catch for out number 3. So no runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. After 5.5, the score. The Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 6th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. Last inning for Dan Ludwig, a 1-2-3 inning. Logan Uxla grounded out, Kyle Pollock flew out, and Austin Wobrock flew out to end the inning. Due up here in the 6th, 1-2-3, Jamadrick Magruder, Ricky Rodriguez, and Chris Grayson facing off against Dan Ludwig. Ludwig so far so good through 5 innings, has struck out 7, giving up 2 runs all earned on 3 hits while not walking a batter, striking out 7. He's only thrown 61 pitches in his outing to this point. Ludwig still waiting to go through his warm-up tosses. As just now Riley Moore getting to the field, and Greg Langman talking to home plate umpire Jim Scaly about something as he was running over to his third base coaching position. If you haven't heard, country artist Chris Young will be in concert at Consol Energy Park on August the 25th. Tickets are available for that at Ticketmaster.com. Also, Clearview Federal Credit Union having branches in Canonsburg, McMurray, and all over southwestern Pennsylvania. Visit ClearviewFCU.org today to find one near you. Locked in a pitcher's duel, 2-2 tie between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Wild Things looking to even their home record. They sit at 13-14 here at Consol Energy Park, while they are 14-9 on the road. As the homestand continues, July 20th and 21st, a doubleheader on the 20th against the River City Rascals, and that series concluding on July 21st at 7:05. Tickets, go to www.washingtonwildthings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Jamadrick Magruder making his way to the plate. Magruder so far in this one 0 for 2. Struck out in the first and struck out in inning number 3. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, he's set, here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Jamadrick Magruder, is struck out in both at-bats tonight. Ludwig set and the 0-1. And Magruder takes this one outside for a ball. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Magruder, the leadoff man for the Wild Things, looking to get something going here in the bottom of the 6th. Ever since the 2nd inning, the Wild Things have been retired. 10 straight Wild Things set down by Ludwig. Here's the 1-1, and that one's on the outside corner for a strike. Count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Florence Freedom currently leading the Joliet Slammers 3-1 in the top of the 5th at Silver Cross Field in Joliet, Illinois. Here's the 1-2 from Ludwig. And this one grounded to first base, handled over there by De Leon. He takes it to the bag himself, and that's in time for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for the Wild Things here in the 6th, and that'll bring up third baseman Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far 0 for 2, flew out in the first, and grounded out in inning number 3. One up, one down for the Wild Things here. Bottom of the 6th, as Rodriguez will now look to get on base. Dan Ludwig has been very good since giving up that solo home run in the 2nd, as we said. Now he has 11 straight Wild Things retired, and this one into center field and a base hit. The string is over as the Wild Things have a 1-out base runner, ends a string of 11 straight retired. Rodriguez is on, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far 1 for 2, a solo home run in the 1st, and struck out in inning number 3. Ricky Rodriguez getting a single, the first hit for the Wild Things since that solo home run by Kyle Pollock in the 2nd inning. They have a runner on with 1 man out, and Grayson at the plate. Rodriguez, no stolen bases yet for the Wild Things this season, but he does have decent speed over there at first base. Dan Ludwig looking in. Ludwig has his sign, checks first, and the pitch on the way. And Grayson ground ball to first, a diving stop by De Leon to second for 1, and they're not going to have a play on Grayson at first, but still a very nice play by Alex De Leon. Fielder's choice 3-6 on the putout as Ricky Rodriguez cut down at second, and that'll bring up Dave Popkins. Popkins so far 1 for 2, single in the 1st and struck out in inning number 4. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th, 2-2 the score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Chris Grayson now the runner at first, reaching on the fielder's choice. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, he's set, checks Grayson over there, and the pitch on the way to Popkins. Throw over to first, and Grayson gets back in there. Grayson currently 3 steals on the season, tied with Dave Popkins for 3rd on the team. Grayson and Popkins each with 3. Andrew Heck has 4, and Austin Wobrock has 5. Ludwig set, and look in, and here's the pitch. Grayson taking off for second, and Popkins grounds it past Marino into left field for a base hit. Grayson will make it to 3rd on the play, as a single now has runners at 1st and 3rd for the Wild Things with 2 men out. Dave Popkins' 2nd hit of the night. Runners are at 1st and 3rd, and that'll bring up the DH, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo on the day so far 0 for 2, strikeout and a flyout. Wild Things a chance to take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Yezzo coming up, leads his team in RBIs. See if he can come through with runners on the corners, and that'll prompt a visit from the pitching coach. Chris Grayson at 3rd, Dave Popkins at 1st. Popkins single moved Grayson up to 3rd. Grayson was running on the play and was able to get into 3rd ahead of the throw from left fielder Edison Sanchez. While there's a meeting on the mound, we'll take a look at the upcoming schedule for your Washington Wild Things. After this series against the Southern Illinois Miners, they'll take on the River City Rascals July 20th and 21st, a doubleheader on July 20th starting at 6:05. Game 2 about a half hour after the conclusion of that Game 1, and that series will wrap up on July 21st with the Rascals. After that, they'll travel to Southern Illinois to take on these Miners July 22nd through the 24th, and that'll be the last time the Wild Things will see the Southern Illinois Miners unless they meet up in the playoffs this season. Then they'll come back home for a 3-game series, July 26th through the 28th against Normal, before going on the road the 29th through the 31st to take on the Florence Freedoms. That's what's coming up for your Wild Things here in the near future. Meanwhile, the meeting on the mound done. Jimmy Yezzo stepping in. Yezzo 0 for 2 so far. Runners at 1st and 3rd. 2 men out here in the bottom of the 6th. Yezzo looking in, Ludwig looking in, has his sign, checks Popkins at 1st in the pitch, and Yezzo takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. The last 3 hitters all getting their results on 1 pitch. Rodriguez a 1-pitch single, Grayson a 1-pitch fielder's choice, and Popkins a 1-pitch single. Ludwig has his sign, the 1-0, and Yezzo takes this one low for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count on Jimmy Yezzo. Chris Grayson over there at 3rd for your Wild Things. Dave Popkins at 1st. Yezzo trying to bring him in. 26 RBIs on the year for Yezzo. Ludwig has his sign and the 2-0. And Yezzo a ground ball to the right side, and this will go foul. Mike Marshall making the barehanded play over the first base coaching box, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Jimmy Yezzo. Chris Grayson standing over at 3rd base. He reached on a fielder's choice. Dave Popkins at 1st after he singled following Grayson's fielder's choice. Ludwig looking in. Lefties have had a hard time hitting Ludwig this year, but so far Grayson the solo home run. Yezzo looking to come through. Ludwig's 2-1, and that one's swung on a miss by Yezzo. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2, 2 men out here in the bottom of the 6th. Both starting pitchers doing very well. No action in either bullpen. Both have given up 2 runs on 5 hits. One error for the Wild Things, no errors for the Miners. Ludwig looks into his catcher. Moore has his sign. Checks Popkins. And the 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. Yezo takes inside. Count goes full 3-2. Popkins was running on the play, and he'll get in there at second. Fielder's indifference there. Or actually, no, they're going to give Popkins a stolen base. So Popkins' 4th steal of the year as he gets into second. There's now runners at second and third with 2 men out. Ludwig looks into Riley Moore. With runners at second and third, 2 men out. Yezo a chance to give his team the lead, and time is called behind the plate. Chris Grayson at third, Dave Popkins at second, and Yezo at the plate. Ludwig has his sign, and the 3-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Yezo strikes out, and that will end the inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. And after 6, the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute? That keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 7th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. Last inning, Alex De Leon started things off with a single, but then Vin Galletti hitting into a 4-6-3 double play before Steve Marino flew out to end the inning. Due up here in the 7th against Trevor Foss, Riley Moore, Edison Sanchez, and Francisco Rosario, 7, 8, and 9, taking on Trevor Foss. Now, tonight's Foss's first career start against the Southern Illinois Miners. Foss in his first season with the Washington Wild Things, so has not faced the Miners to this point in his Frontier League career. So far against Southern Illinois now, he has thrown 6 innings, giving up 2 runs, all earned on 5 hits, while walking, 1 and striking out 3 on the night. So far, a good start to his career against the Southern Illinois Miners as a look to keep it going here in inning number 7. Foss finishing up his warm-up tosses. Like to remind you, Game 3 of this 3-game series can be heard tomorrow night, 5:05. First pitch, Chase Cunningham taking the mound against either Rick Teasley or Jarrett Miller. The starter has not been named for the Southern Illinois Miners just yet. On his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the 7th is catcher Riley Moore. Moore so far 0 for 2, struck out in the 2nd and grounded out in inning number 5. Nobody out top of the 7th, locked in a pitcher's duel here at Consol Energy Park between Trevor Foss and Dan Ludwig. No action in either bullpen. Guys starting to get up and stretch in each bullpen, however, as Moore making his way to the plate. Trevor Foss looking into Kyle Pollock. Foss has his sign, he's set, and the pitch on the way. And Moore takes this one in the outside corner for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Southern Illinois Miners catcher. Catcher will be doing most of the catching in DeMello's absence. Riley Moore behind the plate. Alex De Leon will be his backup if need be. Foss set, here's the 1-0. And Moore takes this one outside for a ball. The count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. That first pitch was actually called outside for a ball. 2-0 the count on Riley Moore. Foss behind to start here this 7th inning against catcher Riley Moore. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the 1-1. Now they changed it to 1-1 on the scoreboard, and this one fouled off, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Nobody out top of the 7th. Trevor Foss out for his 7th inning of work, looking for his 8th complete game of the season, which would put him 1 away from the Frontier League record. The Wild Things would have to get him some runs here, however, if he wants to make 9 innings a complete game. Foss looking in. Shakes off the first sign. Now has one he wants. He's set. Here's the 1-2. And this one a check swing. Did he go around? Yes, says the field umpire. And called out on strikes is Riley Moore. The 4th strikeout of the day for Trevor Foss, and that'll bring up the left fielder Edison Sanchez. Sanchez on the day is currently 0 for 1, grounded out in the second and walked and scored a run in the fifth. One out top of the seventh. 2-2 the score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Trevor Foss looking in. Foss has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And this ball grounded towards third, but it'll go foul off to the left. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Edison Sanchez. Sanchez scoring the second run of the game for the Southern Illinois Miners back in the fifth inning that made this game 2-2. Nolan Early driving him in with the RBI single. Foss set. Here's the 0-1. And this one is a called strike on the inside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Edison Sanchez here, the number 8 hitter in the Southern Illinois Miners lineup. Foss looks in, has his sign, and the 0-2 pitch. And this one is a called strike 3. Edison Sanchez strikes out. Foss's 5th strikeout of the game, and that'll bring up the shortstop Francisco Rosario. Rosario so far 1 for 2, reached on an error in the third inning and singled in inning number 5. 2 outs here in the top of the seventh. 2-2 the score between your Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners with Rosario at the plate. Foss looking in, has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Francisco Rosario. Trevor Foss on the hill with 2 outs in the top of the seventh. Foss looks in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And Rosario fouls this one off. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Foss 5 strikeouts on the day. Looking to strike out the side here in inning number 7 to get his 6th strikeout. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out. We said 5 strikeouts for Trevor Foss. 2-2 the score. Foss looks in, has his sign, and the 0-2 pitch. And check swing. Did he go around? Yes, says the home plate umpire. And that is out number 3. Foss strikes out the side here in the 7th. And after 6.5 the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. Going to the bottom of the 7th, you're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball here on the MSA Sports Network. Right now, we're going to send you down to the field for the 7th inning stretch. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfill playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 7th. And the score, your Washington Wild Things 2, Southern Illinois Miners 2. Last inning for the Wild Things, Jamadric Magruder grounded out. Ricky Rodriguez would single. Then Chris Grayson replaced him on a fielder's choice. Dave Popkins would single, putting runners at first and third. Popkins would then steal second before Jimmy Yezzo struck out to end the inning. Grant Fink stepping in to lead off things here in the bottom of the 7th. After him will be Logan Uxa and Kyle Pollock. Ludwig set, here's the pitch, and Fink to left field. This is deep. Sanchez back to the track. Exit stage left for Grant Fink. Fink's 4th home run of the year, and your Wild Things lead it now 3-2. Fink hits home run number 4, and when you need an attorney to hit one out of the park for you, yo Keith. That home run brought to you by Keith Owen Campbell, attorney at law. Fink's 4th home run of the season, and your Wild Things take the lead here in the bottom of the 7th. It's now 3-2 Washington Wild Things, and that'll bring to the plate the first baseman Logan Uxa. Uxa so far 0 for 2, lined out in the second and grounded out in inning number 5. Ludwig's pitch, and that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Uxa. Fink's 4th home run of the season now puts him alone for 4th on the team in home runs. The pitch, and that one's called a strike, no balls, and 2 strikes. A no-doubter off the bat of Grant Fink gives your Wild Things a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Ludwig set, here's the 0-2, and this one's in the dirt for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Logan Uxa. Fink's 4th home run of the year, the 3rd solo home run of the night by your Washington Wild Things, and they lead 3-2. The 1-2, and that one's a called strike 3, so Logan Uxa strikes out, and that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 7th. That'll bring up the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Pollock so far in this one, 1 for 2, a solo home run in the 2nd, and a flyout in inning number 5. 1 run into the inning for the Wild Things on the Grant Fink solo shot. All 3 runs for the Wild Things coming in courtesy of the solo home run. Chris Grayson, Kyle Pollock, and Grant Fink each hitting home runs in this one. First pitch is inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Kyle Pollock. Dan Ludwig gives up his 3rd home run of the game. He's set. Here's the 1-0. And that one's swung on a miss by Pollock. The count goes to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. There is action now in the bullpen for the Miners as Kyle Tinius warming up out there, the right-hander for the Southern Illinois Miners. Ludwig looking in, shakes off the first sign, now has one. Here's the 1-1. And Pollock to left field. Sanchez going back on this one, this time a couple steps in front of the track. He'll be called off by Aaron Gates, and Gates will make the catch for out number 2. So after the solo home run, 2 up, 2 down for the Wild Things. That'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock so far 0 for 2, grounded out in the 2nd and flew out in inning number 5. A 3-2 lead for your Washington Wild Things after Grant Fink's 4th home run of the season here in the bottom of the 7th gives them the 3-2 lead. Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there at the knees for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Austin Wobrock, the number 9 man in the Wild Things order. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, and the 0-1 pitch. Wobrock takes this one for a strike at the knees. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count, and the way Trevor Foss is pitching, we'll see if this 1-run lead holds up. Foss has blown a lead in the 5th inning, now trying to hold the 3-2 lead here. The next pitch is outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Austin Wobrock, facing off against Dan Ludwig. Ludwig looks in, has his sign, the 1-2 pitch. And that one's way inside, almost gets Wobrock. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for your Wild Things. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Southern Illinois Miners. Ludwig shakes off a sign, now has one. He's set. Here's the 2-2. And this one lined foul off to the left in the seats. The count will remain 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on Austin Wobrock facing Dan Ludwig. Wild Things do have a run in the inning on the Grant Fink solo home run to lead off this 7th inning. Ludwig looks in, has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And this ball fouled off as well, so the count will remain 2 balls and 2 strikes. Austin Wobrock at the plate, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Wild Things lead 3-2. Dan Ludwig looks in. Ludwig has his sign. He's set. And time is called behind home plate. Riley Moore calling time as a baseball flew into the field of play. As with Tinius warming up there, the ball got away from the bullpen catcher. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ludwig set in the pitch. And Wobrock grounds this one to second. Craig Massey has it. He'll throw on to first. And that's in time for out number 3. However, the Wild Things do get a run in the inning on the solo home run by Grant Fink. No errors and nobody left. After 7 innings of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things 3 and the Southern Illinois Miners 2. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 8th, and the score, your Washington Wild Things 3 and the Southern Illinois Miners 2. Trevor Foss out there for his 8th inning of work. Last inning retired the Miners 1-2-3, striking out Riley Moore, Edison Sanchez, and Francisco Rosario. Now has 6 strikeouts through 7 innings for Trevor Foss, 2 away from his season high. Due up to face him here in the 8th will be Aaron Gates, Nolan Early, and Craig Massey, 1, 2, and 3, facing off against Foss here in the 8th. All Sunday home games this season are donation Sundays, brought to you by Goodwill. Fans are encouraged to bring gently used items to the park on Sundays and enter to win prizes courtesy of Goodwill. Tomorrow, the next donation Sunday, 5:05 first pitch, as your Washington Wild Things take on the Southern Illinois Miners, wrapping up this 3-game series here at Consol Energy Park. Then after the series wraps up, 2 off days, Monday and Tuesday the team is off, before returning Wednesday for a doubleheader against the River City Rascals. Aaron Gates making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the 8th. Gates so far 1 for 3, a solo home run to lead off the game, and that's grounded into 2 fielders' choices, 1 in the 3rd and 1 in the 5th, now batting here in inning number 8 against Trevor Foss. Foss has retired 5 straight Southern Illinois Miners, dating back to the 6th inning, now here in the 8th. As Aaron Gates makes his way to the plate, Gates got the scoring started with a solo home run to lead off this game. It was Gates' 6th home run of the season. Trevor Foss looking in, has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And Gates takes this one high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Aaron Gates. 1 walk today for Trevor Foss to go along with his 6 strikeouts on the night. Foss set. Here's the 1-0. And that one's outside for a ball as well. Foss falling behind the first batter in the 8th here. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Aaron Gates. Nobody out, top of the 8th, 3-2. Your Washington Wild Things lead this one, game 2 of the 3-game series. Trevor Foss pitching very well, has given up 5 hits on the day to the Southern Illinois Miners. Gates has his sign. He's set. Here's the 2-0. And Foss gets this one in there for a strike. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Gates taking that one up by the letters. 2-1 the count. Nobody out, top of the 8th. Foss has his sign, the 2-1. And that one is low for a ball. 3 balls and a strike. Foss trying not to walk his 2nd man of the day. At one point, Foss had 5 straight complete games earlier in the season. That string was snapped, and he's gone back and forth in each of his last couple starts. The 3-1 grounded towards second, a dive by Magruder, but he's not going to get it. It goes into center field for a base hit. Leadoff single for Aaron Gates, gets a man on with nobody out, and that'll bring up the right fielder, Nolan Early. Early so far today is 2 for 3, singled in the 1st, popped out in the 2nd, and singled in inning number 5. As right now it's first responders night, and the fans are acknowledging all the first responders in attendance here at Consol Energy Park. Runner at first. Here nobody out, top of the 8th. Aaron Gates on first after he singled to start things off. Now Nolan Early at the plate. Early drove in the 2nd run of the game for the Southern Illinois Miners. Zach Groats up and warming in the Wild Things bullpen. Foss has his sign, checks Gates at first. Here's the pitch. And that one's called strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Nolan Early. Zach Groats out there warming up, the closer for your Washington Wild Things. Aaron Gates on first, nobody out. Foss looking in to Kyle Pollock. Foss has his sign, he's set. And the no ball, 1 strike pitch. Throw over to first, and Aaron Gates gets back in there. 0-1 the count, nobody out. Trevor Foss, the right-hander, on the mound, facing off against Aaron Gates. Foss has his sign, he's set. The 0-1. And this one swung on a miss, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Nolan Early. Early, the number 2 hitter in the Southern Illinois Miners order. Nobody out here in the top of the 8th. Wild Things leading 3-2. Trevor Foss looks in. Has his sign, he's set. Checks Gates. And the no ball, 2 strike after a throw over. And Gates gets back. Gates picked up his 6th stolen base of the season, or his 5th stolen base of the season, earlier in this game. 0-2, nobody out. Groats continues to throw out there for your Wild Things. Foss has his sign, he's set, and the 0-2 pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Nolan Early. Runner at first, nobody out, top of the 8th. Wild Things leading 3-2. And currently in the bottom of the 6th, Florence Freedom still leading the Joliet Slammers by a score of 3-1. The Wild Things chasing them for first place. Foss set the 1-2, and this one grounded, a sliding stop by Uxa. He's going to regain it, flipped him, Foss covering, and it's in time for the out. What a play by Logan Uxa over there at first. Uxa going into a split to try to stop that ball, kicked it in the foul territory, and then Foss with the wherewithal to get over to first base to cover, and was in time to get Early out, and Early is retired. Runner at second now, Aaron Gates with 1 out, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey so far 0 for 3, reached on a fielder's choice in the first, grounded out in the third, and flew out in inning number 5. Kyle Pollock going out temporarily to talk to the pitcher, Trevor Foss, and now that meeting is over, and Massey can dig in. Massey his 5th home run of the year last night for the Southern Illinois Miners. Trevor Foss looking in. Now he'll step off and wants Kyle Pollock to come back out. Now that last play, a sharply hit ground ball by Nolan Early. Logan Uxa went into a split to try to stop it, kicked the ball into foul territory. Uxa able to get up, and Trevor Foss quickly sprinting over to first base to be able to cover the bag and got there just in time to beat Nolan Early to the plate. Aaron Gates at second as they had no play at second base. So he will be at second with 1 man out. Massey at the plate. Foss looking in. Has his sign. He's set. And the first pitch coming to Massey. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. Just hitting that low inside corner. 0-1, 1 man out. The 6 hits given up by Trevor Foss. Just 2 runs through 7 1/3 innings of work. Foss looking in to Kyle Pollock. Foss has his sign. He's set. And the 0-1 pitch. After a check to second. Gates bouncing. A throwback to second. And Gates back in there. Aaron Gates playing a little mind trick with Trevor Foss. Bouncing back and forth between second and third. And is able to get back in there on the Foss pickoff throw. No balls and a strike. 1 man out. Here in the top of inning number 8. Wild Things leading 3-2. Foss looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-1 pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count, 1 man out. Trevor Foss trying to get through this 8th inning. Zach Groats is warming up if needed. We'll see if Groats comes in for the 9th or if Trevor Foss goes for his 8th complete game of the season. Foss looking in, has his sign, and the 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. After a check to second, here it is. And this one's fouled off at the plate. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. As Kyle Tinius still warming up out there in the Southern Illinois Miners bullpen. Likely see him in the bottom of the 8th. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 man out here to Craig Massey at the plate. Massey the second baseman. And Zach Groats is ready out there in the Wild Things bullpen. Trevor Foss looks in. Now Foss will step off as he wants to go through the signs again. Foss and Pollock trying to get on the same page here in the 8th inning with 1 out and a 1-2 count. Now Foss looks in again. Has his sign. He's set. And the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And this one grounded to third. A diving try by Rodriguez. He's not going to get it. Fink Fields. Here's the throw to the plate. And it is not in time. Sliding in is Aaron Gates. The throw goes over Kyle Pollock's head. And an RBI single by Craig Massey has now tied this game at 3. Massey singles in Aaron Gates. It was a strong throw from Grant Fink out in left field. Actually beat the runner, but it skipped over the head of Kyle Pollock. Bounced a couple inches in front of home plate and went over the head of Pollock. And now it's actually an RBI double as Craig Massey gets into second on the throw to the plate. So now there's a runner at second with 1 man out again, and that'll bring up Alex De Leon. 3-3 the score now as the Miners have once again tied the game. Alex De Leon to this point is currently 1 for 3, struck out, popped out, and singled on the day. Trevor Foss set, checks second, the pitch, and this one's in the dirt. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Alex De Leon, the first baseman for the Southern Illinois Miners. The game tied once again at 3. As Trevor Foss now dealing with another runner at second and one man out. Foss looks into Kyle Pollock, has his sign, he's set. Checks second base and the 1-0. After another look, here it comes. And that one's in there for a strike. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Alex DeLeon. DeLeon, the first baseman for the Southern Illinois Miners. Also the backup catcher if Riley Moore would go down. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 man out. Craig Massey at second, 3-3 the score. Trevor Foss looks in, has his sign, he's set. Checks second, and the 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. And this ball lined down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Coming around to score will be Craig Massey, and the Southern Illinois Miners have taken the lead. It is 4-3 here in the top of the 8th. Back-to-back RBI doubles have given the Miners the lead here against Trevor Foss in the top of the 8th. That'll bring manager Greg Langman out of the bullpen, and that will end the night for Trevor Foss. Going to take a break here on the MSA Sports Network. We'll be right back with more coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the top of the 8th, and the Southern Illinois Miners have taken the lead. They now lead 4-3 over your Washington Wild Things. Pitching change for the Wild Things as in comes reliever Zach Groats. Groats 0-2, 9 saves on the season, a 1.50 ERA, appearing in his 21st game, has thrown 24 innings of work, giving up 4 runs, all earned, on 17 hits, 28 strikeouts to 8 walks on the season. Trevor Foss finishes his outing going 7 1/3, giving up 8 hits, 4 runs to this point, still responsible for the runner at second, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts on the evening. So Zach Groats now into this one, and the first man he'll face will be designated hitter Vin Galletti. Galletti so far 0 for 3, strikeout, ground out, and has hit into a double play so far on the day. Trevor Foss throws 100 pitches exactly in 7 1/3 innings of work in his outing tonight. Zach Groats taking over, runner at second, 1 man out. Southern Illinois now leads 4-3 over your Washington Wild Things with Galletti at the plate. Groats looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch on the way. And that one's fouled off, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Vin. Foss will not pick up his 8th complete game of the season. Has to wait till his next time out, and now is in line for the loss after 2 runs have come in for the Southern Illinois Miners here in inning number 8. No balls and a strike, 1 man out. Zach Groats looks in to Kyle Pollock. Groats has his sign, he's set. Checks second, and the 0-1. And this one lined right to Jamadric Magruder, a jumping as he gets it for out number 2. Scrambling back to first base is Alex DeLeon. A leaping catch by Jamadric Magruder, an explanation point on out number 2, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Steve Marino. Marino so far 0 for 3, grounded out in the second, grounded out in the fourth, and flew out in inning number 6. 2 outs, top of the 8th, 4-3. The Southern Illinois Miners leading over your Washington Wild Things. Zach Groats looks in, has his sign, he's set, checks second in the pitch. And this one swung on a miss, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Steve Marino, the captain of the Southern Illinois Miners. Top of the 8th, 4-3, Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Groats looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1 pitch. After a check to second, here it comes. And that one's in there for a strike as well, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Steve Marino. 2 outs, top of the 8th. Groats came in and got Vingoletti to line out. Now facing Steve Marino. Groats looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-2 pitch. After a check to second, here it comes. And that one's in the dirt. Gets by Kyle Pollock, and making it all the way to third is Alex De Leon. So De Leon getting to third on the wild pitch. And now there's a runner at third with 2 men out and a 1-2 count on Steve Marino. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 men out. Zach Groats trying to get his team through the 8th inning and back to the bat racks. Trevor Foss going 7 1/3 in the start tonight, giving up 4 earned runs to this point. Zach Groats trying to strand that 5th run out on the base paths. Groats looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And that one's in the dirt, blocked by Kyle Pollock. Count and go even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out with Steve Marino at the plate. Zach Groats, the right-handed pitcher, facing Steve Marino, the right-handed batter. Groats looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 2-2 pitch. And swing and a miss. Zach Groats gets him, and that is out number 3. However, the Miners do score 2 runs in the inning on 3 hits, no errors, and a man left. After 7.5, the score, Southern Illinois 4, your Washington Wild Things 3. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05, first pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uksha, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.washingtonwildthings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild!
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the bottom of the 8th, and the score, Southern Illinois Miners 4, and your Washington Wild Things 3. New pitcher for the Miners as Chris DeBoo comes on. DeBoo, no record, 3 saves on the year, 1.65 ERA, appearing in his 18th game. Has thrown 16 1/3 innings of work, giving up 3 runs, all earned on 15 hits, 11 strikeouts, and 5 walks. The final line for the starter, Dan Ludwig. Ludwig went 7, gave up 3 runs, all earned on 6 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts through 89 pitches in the start tonight, and now is in line for the win with the big inning by the Southern Illinois Miners. Leading off things for the Wild Things here in the 8th will be Jamadrick Magruder. 1, 2, 3. Magruder, Rodriguez, and Grayson due up to face the new reliever, Chris DeBoo. DeBoo looking in to his catcher, Riley Moore, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch to Magruder. And Magruder takes this one outside for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things second baseman. Wild Things down by 1 after the Miners scored 2 runs in the top of this 8th inning. DeBoo has his sign, the 1-0, And Magruder grounds at the first. Handled over there by De Leon. He'll take it to the bag himself, and that is out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for the Wild Things here in the bottom of the 8th, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far 1 for 3, flew out in the first, grounded out in the third, and singled in inning number 6. 4-3, Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things. The Miners took the lead in the top of the 8th as two RBI doubles, one by Craig Massey, one by Alex De Leon, has given the Miners the lead. Rodriguez takes the first pitch at the knees for a strike, no balls and a strike. We saw Chris DeBoo last night. DeBoo went a third of an inning and got out the only man he faced in that game. He's got Jimmy Yezzo to ground out with the base loaded. DeBoo set, and Rodriguez hits this one to left field and deep. Back goes Sanchez to the wall. A slide by Gates, and he made the catch. A sliding catch by Aaron Gates out in left center field at the wall, robbing Ricky Rodriguez of a hit. What a play by Aaron Gates. And there are now 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Gates running it all the way down to the left center field gap, made a sliding effort, and came up with the ball for out number 2. That'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far 1 for 3, a solo home run in the first, struck out in the third, and hit into a fielder's choice in inning number 6. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th, or the bottom of the 8th, excuse me. 4-3, Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. DeBoo has his sign. He's setting the pitch. And Grayson takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Chris Grayson. Only 6 pitches thrown in last night's outing for DeBoo. So DeBoo fresh for today. He's set, and the 1-0. And Grayson fouls this one back behind the plate. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on the Wild Things center fielder. Grayson trying to get something started with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Wild Things down by 1, 4-3. The Southern Illinois Miners lead this one. DeBoo looks in, has his sign. He's set the 1-1. And Grayson hits this one to left center field, giving chases Sanchez and Gates. And this one will bounce before the wall. Grayson around first, heading to second, and he'll get in there with a 2-out double. Grayson's second hit of the night, and the Wild Things have a runner in scoring position with 2 men outs for the right fielder, Dave Popkins. Popkins so far in this one, 2 for 3, 2 singles, also a strikeout on the day. Popkins, 7 home runs on the year, a home run derby participant for your Washington Wild Things, and if he could get one here, that would be huge to give your Wild Things a lead going into the 9th. That'll bring out the pitching coach to the mound. Runner at second, 2 men out. Dave Popkins, second on the team in RBIs with 24, second in home runs with 7. Looking to come through here with a runner at second and 2 men out. Like to remind you, tomorrow's game can be heard right here on the MSA Sports Network. 5:05 first pitch as Chase Cunningham takes the hill for your Wild Things, facing either Rick Teasley or Jarrett Miller. The starter has not been named for the Southern Illinois Miners as of yet. So Dave Popkins awaiting his turn here in the bottom of the 8th. Wild Things down by 1. Southern Illinois leads 4-3. Tying run stands out at second. The go-ahead run, Dave Popkins at the plate. Meeting on the mound is over as all the parties return to their respective spots. Chris DeBoo trying to hold this 1-run lead for the Miners. Dave Popkins trying to tie this game. And if he can get one over the wall, possibly give the Wild Things the lead. DeBoo looking in to his catcher, Riley Moore. Has his sign. He's set in the pitch. And Popkins to center field. Aaron Gates a couple steps back, and he will make the catch in front of the track for out number 3. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on. After 8 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 4, your Washington Wild Things 3. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute? That keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the top of the ninth, and the score, Southern Illinois 4 and your Washington Wild Things 3. Last inning, Southern Illinois took the lead as Aaron Gates started things off with a single, then Nolan Early grounded out. Gates would move up to second, and Craig Massey came through with an RBI double, scoring Gates. Gates was nearly thrown out the plate. A great throw by Grant Fink, but the ball skipped past Kyle Pollock and allowed Gates to score. Then Alex DeLeon followed that up with an RBI double himself. That was the end of the night for Trevor Foss, and Zach Groats still on the mound now. Got Vin Galletti to line out and Steve Marino to strike out to end the inning. Due up here in the ninth, Riley Moore, Edison Sanchez, and Francisco Rosario, 7, 8, and 9, taking on Zach Groats. Groats on the mound for your Wild Things for his first full inning of relief. Got the last 2 outs in the top of the 8th. Did get a strikeout in that top of the 8th inning. Now here in the top of the 9th, trying to get his team to the bat racks. Colin Stanley warming out in the bullpen for the Wild Things. Groats looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Riley Moore, the catcher for the Southern Illinois Miners. Zach Groats looking out, looking into Kyle Pollock, has his sign, the pitch. And that one's inside for a ball as well. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count on Riley Moore. Behind the plate for the Southern Illinois Miners. The only catcher on the roster for the Miners right now is their starting catcher DeMello is on the disabled list, with Alex DeLeon being the backup. The 2-0, and that one's fouled back to the screen. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count here on Riley Moore. Moore, the backup catcher for the Southern Illinois Miners, but with DeMello injured, Moore has to get in there and get some playing time. 2 balls, 1 strike, nobody out. Groats looks in. Has his sign at 2-1. And this one swung on a miss. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Groats coming to this one has 28 strikeouts and 24 innings of work. Got 1 today. So now 29 and 24 2/3. Groats looks into Kyle Pollock. Has his sign in the 2-2. And that one's a called strike 3. Riley Moore strikes out, and there is 1 out here in the top of the 9th. Second strikeout for Zach Groats, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Edison Sanchez. Sanchez so far in this one 0 for 2, grounded out in the second, walked and scored a run in the 5th, and struck out looking in inning number 7. 1 out, top of the 9th. Southern Illinois leads this one 4-3 over your Washington Wild Things. Zach Groats looks in to Kyle Pollock, has his sign, the pitch. And Sanchez takes this one for a strike at the letters. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Edison Sanchez out there in left field today for the Southern Illinois Miners. Groats looks in the 0-1. And this one's low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Edison Sanchez. 1 out here in the top of the 9th. Southern Illinois leading 4-3. Groats is 1-1. And a broken bat liner towards the middle, and it'll get over the head of Magruder to center field for a base hit. A 1-out single has a runner on for Southern Illinois in the top of the 9th, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Francisco Rosario. Rosario so far 1 for 3, reached on an error in the 3rd, singled in the 5th, and struck out in inning number 7. And now we're going to have a pinch runner as Edison Sanchez is taken out of this game. Coming into pinch run will be Brendan O'Brien. So Brendan O'Brien over there at first base. We saw O'Brien in last night's game, did not get an at-bat, as he came in after Nolan Early was ejected from the ball game. So come in as a pinch runner here, appearing in his 2nd game against the Wild Things with 1 out in the top of the 9th. Brendan O'Brien, a 184 average on the season with no home runs and 4 RBIs. On the season, O'Brien does have 4 steals in 39 games played for the Miners. Colin Stanley ready out there in the Wild Things bullpen. Groats set, checks. Here's the pitch. And that one's a called strike at the knees. No balls and a strike on Rosario. 0-1 the count, 1 out, 1 man on here for the Miners, as there is action in the Southern Illinois bullpen. Groats looking in. Checks first, has his sign, he's set. And the pitch. And this one grounded to short. Austin Wobrock will handle it to second for one on to first. And not in time for the double play. A fielder's choice for Francisco Rosario. 6-4 on the putout as Brendan O'Brien is cut down at second base. And now with 2 outs, that'll bring up Aaron Gates, the center fielder. And out in that bullpen, Adam Lopez once again. Lopez closed it out last night for the Miners. Aaron Gates due up right now. Gates so far on the day is 2 for 4. A solo home run in the first. 2 fielders' choices, 1 in the second, 1 in the fifth, and then singled and scored a run in inning number 8. 2 outs, top of the ninth. Southern Illinois leads 4-3 over your Wild Things. Francisco Rosario standing at first after he reached on a fielder's choice. Groats has his sign. He's setting the pitch. And this one taken for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Aaron Gates out there in center field for the Southern Illinois Miners tonight. Groats looking in. Has his sign, he's set. Checks Rosario at first, and the 0-1. And this one swung on and missed. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Groats already 2 strikeouts on the night through 1 1/3 innings pitched. Looking at the final out here in the top of the ninth and get his team to the back racks looking for a walk-off. Groats looks in to Kyle Pollock. Checks first. Has his sign, he's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And this one's in the dirt, blocked by Kyle Pollock, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2, 2 men out, top of the ninth. Zach Groats facing Aaron Gates. Gates, his 5th at-bat of the day. Groats looks in. Long look to Kyle Pollock. Has his sign, he's set. Checks Rosario at first, and the 1-2. Rosario taking off, it's low, and Rosario get in there with the stolen base. So Francisco Rosario into second after the steal. 2-2 the count on Aaron Gates for Rosario. That is his 5th steal of the year in his 49th game played. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 men out. Zach Groats looking in to catcher Kyle Pollock. Groats has his sign. He's set. Checks Rosario at second. And the 2-2. And this ball lined foul back to the screen. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 on Aaron Gates. A battle here between Zach Groats and Aaron Gates. Groats looking to retire Gates for the final out in the top of the ninth. 4-3, Southern Illinois leads. 4 runs, 9 hits for the Miners. 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Wild Things. Groats looks in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks Rosario at second, the 2-2. And this one's just low for a ball. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. Zach Groats doesn't want to lose Gates here and put another man on with 2 outs. Would like to finish it right here if he can. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. As now again the ball skipping away from the bullpen catcher and out into the field of play. So time is called as going out there to retrieve it is Evan Mott for the Southern Illinois Miners. He gets it off the field, and we're back in play. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 men out. Here in the top of the ninth, Miners leading 4-3. Groats looks in, has his sign, he's set. The 3-2. Swing and a foul ball, but into the glove of Kyle Pollock. So that will be a strikeout, and that will end the inning. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 8.5, the score, Southern Illinois 4, your Washington Wild Things 3. Washington Wild Things will look for a walk-off in the bottom of the ninth with the score 4-3. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the Fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in Citric Nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the ninth, and the score: the Southern Illinois Miners 4, your Washington Wild Things 3. Pitching change for the Miners is now coming on Adam Lopez. Lopez, no record, 2 saves on the year. No ERA, appearing in his 5th game. Has thrown 4 innings of work, not giving up a run on 2 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts for the right-hander. Collected his 2nd save in last night's Wild Things loss. Looking for his 3rd save here tonight. The final line for the reliever, Chris DeBoo. DeBoo went an inning, did not give up a run on 1 hit, did not walk anybody, and didn't strike anybody out. Only took 8 pitches to get through the Wild Things in the 8th. So Lopez on now, looking for his 3rd save. Due up to face him here in the bottom of the 9th, Jimmy Yezzo, Grant Fink, Logan Uxa, 5, 6, and 7, facing off against Adam Lopez. Jimmy Yezzo making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the bottom of the 9th. Yezzo so far 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a flyout to this point, as they'll look to get something going against Lopez in the bottom of the 9th. Last night they did end up getting a hit off of Adam Lopez, as Jomadrick Magruder singled with 1 out, but that's all they could get off Lopez. Lopez went a scoreless inning, giving up 1 hit and striking out a man, having to throw 12 pitches last night against the Wild Things. Yezzo stepping in now, looking to get on base to lead things off, representing the tying run. Lopez has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. Yezzo takes this one outside for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things designated hitter. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Southern Illinois Miners winning last night by the score of 4-2. Currently lead 4-3 in the bottom of the 9th. Lopez set. Here's the 1-0. And Yezzo takes this one way outside for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. For Adam Lopez, 2 walks in 4 innings. Did not walk a man last night. Just gave up that 1 hit. 2 balls, no strikes. Nobody out. Bottom of the 9th. Lopez looks in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 2-0. And that one's outside as well. 3 balls and no strikes on Jimmy Yezzo to start the inning. Yezzo represents the tying run. Grant Fink on deck. Fink already has a home run in this game. 3 balls, no strikes, nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th. Lopez has his sign. He's set. And the 3-0. And that one's in there for a strike. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count on Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo looking to get on base to lead things off here in the bottom of the 9th. Adam Lopez, 2 saves on the year, looking for save number 3. Lopez has his sign. And the 3-1. Outside ball 4. Leadoff walks. The leadoff man's on here in the bottom of the 9th. Jimmy Yezzo reaches base, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Grant Fink. Fink so far 1 for 3. Struck out in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, and hit a solo home run in inning number 7. It was his 4th home run of the season over the left field wall. All 3 of the Wild Things home runs today have come via the home run. Chris Grayson, Kyle Pollock, and Grant Fink all providing home runs in this one. If Fink could get a home run here, it would seal the game and give the Wild Things the victory. Runner at first, nobody out, as Jimmy Yezzo, a walk to lead things off. Lopez looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch to Grant Fink. And Fink takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Grant Fink. Yezzo the runner at first. Yezzo not going to go anywhere. He does have 2 steals on the year, but you will not see Yezzo in motion as he's not the fastest guy in the world. 1 ball, no strikes. Lopez has his sign, checks Yezzo at first, and the pitch. And a big swing and a miss there by Fink, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on the Wild Things left fielder, Grant Fink. Fink looking to come through here with a runner on and nobody out. Lopez looks in. To Riley Moore. Lopez has his sign. He's set. And the 1-1. And this one's high for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. Yezzo actually started going there but put on the brakes just as Lopez let the ball go. 2 balls, 1 strike here to Grant Fink. Nobody out. Bottom of the 9th. Southern Illinois leads 4-3 over your Wild Things. Lopez looks in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 2-1. Throw over to first. And Yezo back in there. Yezo, as we said, 2 stolen bases on the year in 41 games played. 2 balls, 1 strike here on Grant Fink. Nobody out, runner at first, bottom of the 9th. Adam Lopez looking in. Has his sign, he's set. And the 2-1. And that one's a called strike on the inside corner. Count goes even to 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out, bottom of the 9th. Grant Fink at the plate. Jimmy Yezo walked to start this inning. He's over at first. Lopez looks in. To Riley Moore. Lopez has his sign. He's set. And the 2-2. And Fink takes this one low, ball 3. Count goes full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Logan Uxa, the on-deck man. Adam Lopez wild here to start this bottom of the 9th. A 3-1 count before he walked Jimmy Yezo. Now 3-2 here on Grant Fink. Righty on righty matchup. Fink the right-handed batter. Lopez the right-handed pitcher. Lopez looks in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Grant Fink strikes out, and there is 1 out here in the bottom of the 9th. Still a runner at first, and Logan Uxa coming to the plate. Uxa so far 0 for 3. Lined out in the 2nd, grounded out in the 5th, and struck out looking in inning number 7. Uxa currently 3 home runs on the year. Your Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week. Hit 2 home runs last week, including 6 RBIs, also a double and a triple in last week's action. Logan Uxa at the plate. Jimmy Yezo at first. Adam Lopez looking in. To his catcher, Riley Moore. Lopez has the sign. He's set. And the pitch. And that one's high to Uxa. 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count on Logan Uxa. Uxa out there at first base today for your Wild Things. Jimmy Yezo at first. Wild Things down by 1. Southern Illinois leads 4-3. Lopez looks in. Has his sign. And the 1-0. Uxa swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Logan Uxa. Uxa going out of the zone for that one, as the count is even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 man out. Runner at first, Jimmy Yezo. Lopez looks in. So Riley Moore has his sign. He's set. Checks Yezo at first. And the 1-1. And Uxa takes this one outside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count here on Logan Uxa. Uxa looking to come through. Jimmy Yezo at first base. Uxa represents the winning run. Yezo represents the tying run. Lopez has his sign. He's set. And the 2-1. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 man out. Bottom of the 9th, 4-3 Southern Illinois leads. Adam Lopez has yet to give up a run this season. Wild Things trying to change that. Lopez has his sign, the 2-2. Uxa, a slow roller in front of the mound. Lopez will handle it, and it'll flip on to first, and that's in time for out number 2. 1-3 on the putout, and that'll bring up Kyle Pollock, the last chance for the Washington Wild Things. Yezo moving up to 2nd on the ground ball. So the tying run in scoring position, and Pollock at the plate. Pollock so far 1 for 3, a solo home run in the 2nd. Also flew out in the 5th and flew out in inning number 7. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Southern Illinois leads 4-3 over your Washington Wild Things. Kyle Pollock looking to tie the game with 2 outs. He would have to do it on a single. You'd have to think anything out of the infield. Yezo will be waved to the plate, and Langben would give him the chance to score. Lopez looking into Kyle Pollock. Riley Moore, the catcher. Lopez has his sign. He's set. Checks Yezo at 2nd. Here's the pitch. And Pollock takes outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Kyle Pollock. Pollock behind the plate today for your Wild Things, looking to come through with a runner at 2nd. Already has a solo home run in this one. 1-0, 2 men out. Adam Lopez has the sign. He's set, checks 2nd, and the 1-0. And that one's in the dirt for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Lopez falling behind Kyle Pollock here. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Wild Things not going down without a fight, as they've taken a lot of pitches here against Adam Lopez. Lopez, before Pollock, has thrown 14 pitches in this inning, 16 including the Pollock at-bat. Lopez looks in. Has his sign, he's set. Checks Yezo at second, the 2-0. Swing and a miss by Pollock as he went outside of the zone for that one, and the count goes to 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike here on Kyle Pollock. 2 men out here on the bottom of the 9th. Jimmy Yezo on second, Pollock at the plate. Lopez looking in. Has his sign, he's set. Checks second, and the 2-ball, 1-strike pitch. That one's outside for a ball as well. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count on Kyle Pollock. Austin Wolbrock standing in on deck for your Washington Wild Things. Runner at second, 2 men out. Jimmy Yezo walked the lead off this inning. He's out there at second. Lopez looks in. Has his sign, he's set. And the 3-1. And Pollock takes this one for a strike. Count goes full at 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Wild Things down to their last strike in this one. Tomorrow's game can be heard at 5:05 here on the MSA Sports Network. Game 3 of the 3-game series. Adam Lopez looks in, has his sign. Checks second. And he'll step off now as he just looks back at second, and Yezo takes a couple of steps towards the bag and now will retake his lead. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Yezo the runner at second. Lopez has his sign, he's set. And the 3-2. Pollock takes it low, ball 4, and it skips past the catcher. Yezo gets to third. There are now runners at first and third with 2 men out. The wild pitch allowing Yezo to get up to third. Runners at the corners and Austin Wolbrock at the plate. Wolbrock so far on the day 0 for 3. Grounded out in the second, flew out in the 5th, and grounded out in inning number 7. The tying run 90 feet away from the plate. Austin Wolbrock batting now, the winning run standing over at first base after Kyle Pollock walked, and that'll bring out the pitching coach. Big situation here from Austin Wolbrock. Came through with 2 outs in last night's ball game. In the second inning, a 2-out, 2 RBI double gave the Wild Things a 2-0 lead. It was the only 2 runs the Wild Things would score on the night as they lost that one by the score of 4-2. Wolbrock in with another big 2-out situation. Tying run standing at third. Winning run over at first. If Wolbrock could find a gap and hit it deep into that gap, there could be a chance that Pollock could come around from first. But that situation would have to play out perfectly. Just right now, I want to get that tying run in from third base. As the meeting on the mound is over, Jimmy Yezo over there at third. And Kyle Pollock standing at first base. Actually, a pinch runner has come into the game as Andrew Heck is now over there at third, running for Jimmy Yezo. So Andrew Heck pinch running for Yezo at third. Heck at third and Pollock at first. Here's the pitch. And this one swung on a miss by Wolbrock. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Wolbrock trying to drive in Heck from third. Heck comes in to pinch run for Kyle Pollock. Lopez Heck running for Yezo, excuse me. No balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Lopez has his sign, checks Heck at third, and the 0-1. And Wolbrock takes this one in the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike, blocked by Riley Moore. Keeps Heck right over there at third. Heck at third, Pollock at first. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Adam Lopez on the mound, trying to close it out for the Miners. Austin Wolbrock trying to tie this game. Lopez looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 1-1. Wolbrock swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Austin Wolbrock. Runners are at first and third with 2 men out. Wolbrock trying to come through, has 11 RBIs on the season. Was second on the team in RBIs last year. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 men out. Lopez has his sign, he's set. And the 1-2 pitch. Inside, ball 2. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on Austin Woldbrock. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Southern Illinois leading 4-3. That tying run standing 90 feet away at third base. Adam Lopez looks in. Has his sign, he's set. And the 2-2. Inside, ball 3. As Riley Moore is able to keep it in front of himself, Kyle Pollock moves up to second. Pollock now at second, the winning run standing at second base. And 3-2 the count to Austin Woldbrock. Woldbrock arguing that it hit him, and the 2 umpires are convening at the mound. They say it did not. 3 balls, 2 strikes here on Austin Woldbrock. Jamadrick Magruder on deck for your Washington Wild Things. Tying run 90 feet away, winning run standing at second base. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Jamadrick Magruder on deck. Austin Woldbrock at the plate. Adam Lopez looking into Riley Moore. Lopez has his sign. He's set. And the 3-2. Swinging a ground ball to short. Rosario has it. Throw on to first. And it is in time for out number 3. The throw pulled Alex DeLeon off the bag, but DeLeon slapping the tag on Woldbrock, and that will end this game. Final score, Southern Illinois 4, and your Washington Wild Things 3. Keep it tuned right here to the MSA Sports Network. Coming up next, the Washington Wild Things postgame show. You've been listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05, first pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Consol Energy Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uxa, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.WashingtonWildThings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Final score in this one, the Southern Illinois Miners defeat your Washington Wild Things 4-3. The win going to Dan Ludwig. Ludwig improves to 7-1. The loss going to Trevor Foss. Foss falls to 7-3 on the season. The save goes to Adam Lopez. Lopez's 3rd save of the 2016 season. Scoring recap in this one, the Southern Illinois Miners got out in front way early on. Aaron Gates, a solo home run on the 2nd pitch of the game, made the score Southern Illinois 1, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. It was Gates' 6th home run of the year. Then Nolan Early followed that up with a single. Craig Massey hit into a fielder's choice, replacing Early at first base before Alex DeLeon and Vingoletti struck out to end the inning. Wild Things would respond in the bottom of the first. Jamadrick Magruder struck out to start things, then Ricky Rodriguez flew out before Chris Grayson hit a solo home run over the right field wall. It was Grayson's first, and the Wild Things tied the game at 1. Dave Popkins would single, and Jimmy Yeza would strike out to end the inning. Wild Things responding again in the bottom of the second. Grant Fink struck out. Logan Uxa lined it out to start the inning. And then Kyle Pollock delivered his first home run of the 2016 season. A solo shot over the left field wall that gave the Wild Things a 2-1 lead over the Miners. Austin Woldbrock would ground out to end the inning. Then the Southern Illinois Miners tying the game in the top of the 5th as Riley Moore grounded out to start things. Then Edison Sanchez walked. Francisco Rosario singled to put runners at first and second with 1 man out. Then Aaron Gates into a fielder's choice. So their first and third with 2 men out, and Nolan Early came through with the RBI single that allowed Edison Sanchez to score and tied the game at 2. Craig Massey would fly out to end the inning. Wild Things got back on the board in the top of the 7th. A solo home run by Grant Fink. It was Fink's 4th home run of the 2016 season. Went over the left field wall, and the Wild Things took a 3-2 lead. Logan Uxa struck out, Kyle Pollock flew out, and Austin Wobrock grounded out to end the inning. Then in the 8th inning, Trevor Foss hit struggles. Aaron Gates singled to lead things off. Then Nolan Early grounded out to first base. Gates moved up to second before Craig Massey came through with an RBI double to tie the game at 3. And then the very next batter, Alex De Leon, hit an RBI double of his own to score Massey and give the Miners a 4-3 lead. That would be all for Trevor Foss on the night. Final line on Foss went 7 1/3, gave up 4 runs, all earned on 8 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts through 100 pitches in the outing. Zach Rhodes came in to relieve Foss and got Vingoletti to line out, and Steve Marino struck out to end the inning. Dan Ludwig would go 7 in this one, gave up 3 runs, all earned on 6 hits, no walks, and 7 strikeouts for Ludwig on the night. Chris DeBoo came in the 8th and allowed 1 hit. Jamondrick Magruder grounded out. Ricky Rodriguez flew out, and Chris Grayson doubled before Dave Popkins flew out to end the inning. For DeBoo, went an inning, did not give up a run on 1 hit, did not walk anybody or strike anybody out. 8 pitches for him. The 9th, the Wild Things made things interesting in the bottom of the 9th. Jimmy Yezzo, a walk to lead off the inning. Grant Fink struck out. Logan Uxa grounded out and moved Yezzo up to second. Then Andrew Heck would come in as a pinch runner. Kyle Pollock would be at the plate. He would walk, and a wild pitch would allow Heck to move up to third. So there are runners at first and third with 2 outs before Austin Wobrock worked the 3-2 count and grounded out to end the game. Final score, Southern Illinois 4 and your Washington Wild Things 3. The win going to Dan Ludwig. Ludwig improved to 7-1. The loss to Trevor Foss. Foss falls to 7-3. The save goes to Adam Lopez. Lopez's 3rd save of the 2016 season. This series wraps up tomorrow evening, 5:05 first pitch between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Chase Cunningham on the mound for the Wild Things. Cunningham enters tomorrow's start with a record of 2-4 and his ERA, or 3-4, excuse me, he's the ERA sitting at 2.88. His opposition, one of 2 names. It'll either be Rick Teasley or Jarrett Miller. The starter has not yet been announced. If it's Teasley, Teasley's enters with a record of 4-3, a 3.60 ERA. If it is, if it is Miller enters with a record of 3-2 and a 2.94 ERA. Tonight's Washington Wild Things player of the game, we're going to give it to Chris Grayson. Grayson, a solo home run, also a double on the night, 2 for 4, drove in a run. Chris Grayson, your Wild Things star of the night, hitting his first Wild Things home run, getting the Wild Things on the board early. Unfortunately, the Wild Things not able to hold a lead as they fall 4-3 in this one. Remember, tune in tomorrow night, 5:05 first pitch between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners for Game 3 of this 3-game series. Chase Cunningham facing either Jarrett Miller or Rick Teasley in tomorrow's contest. But the final score from the night's game, Southern Illinois 4, your Washington Wild Things 3. Thanks for listening to the MSA Sports Network, and have a good night, everybody.